NUFC Early Night News with Gary the Geordie Yam Yam, Andrew Bokey, Christina Cage, and Derek the Mighty Wind. Weekdays from 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. USA. NUFC Talk.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I hope everybody is well, doing okay on this Thursday, the eve of the eve, if you like. I tell you, there's been absolute tosh in the newsroom when it comes to the Mafton Hall. It's more about golf clubs, where to park, than it is any news coming out. But we will get into some stuff that I have worked on. Be interested to see your thoughts. I hope we're well. Mighty Win, Bokey, and obviously Christina Tooney. And obviously you've got myself hosting. As usual, Gaza the Geordie Yam Yam. I hope everybody in the chat is well. Welcome on board for what it all. Like I say, if you can, just do three things for us. Subscribe. If you haven't already, just smash the like button. It certainly helps us get further.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it certainly helps us get further as a channel to get further to obviously other NUFC supporters.
I haven't figured out how to do this yet, me being a technophobe, but you've got this.
You just press the little thumb?
Boost thing or something? No, that's
yeah,
a new one.
You have on the top of the right hand side. It's the hype button.
Hype, that's the one.
It's the hype button.
I think it says Euro XP or something. If you click on that's the things.
No, that's something different. It's not on everything. It's only on certain ones that you'll be able to throw the hype. If you can, then fantastic. If you can't, then don't. It means as simple as. Stevie's in the chat. Obviously, that is great. Grammy Tone as well. Lovely to have you on board as always. It's great, ladies and gentlemen. Are we good? Like I say, are we all raring for the Brighton game? Certainly something I'm looking forward to. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm being optimistic, obviously, but it's another. I mean, is Eddie going to have his bottom spanked at Mafton Hall? It's costing him 420 quid a night. He wants to get something out of it, or he just needs to go to one of the back shops where Win travels to. You get a nice massage, apparently. Anyway, apart from
Eddie,
I'll be a lot more focused tonight because I'm on the BBC and we've lost the snooker. For some reason, the live feed's gone and we've got sheep on the screen for some reason. So that's a bit devastating.
I do have, of course, Forest Villa on the.
Absolutely. I've got that on the back.
I would like a lovely 0-0 tonight.
Yeah,
so that Forest have got lots riding on the return next week.
Well, they've got to get something out of tonight's game, haven't they? That's what they're looking for, being at home. So anyway, let's get on with the show. Good evening and welcome to NUFC Talk, where the stats say we should be in Europe, but the table says we should be checking Google Maps for the championship. Honestly, if expected points won matches, we'd be planning a Champions League away day instead of arguing with Johan Wissa's confidence levels. And speaking of confidence, Newcastle's gone from project on the rise to group therapy session with a transfer budget. Tina's back again tonight, obviously. DX is quietly on loan, probably with the option to buy if performances improve. Let's get into it then, ladies and gentlemen, because like I say, we have got a little bit to get through. Are we actually watching something bad or is it just unlucky? Because that's the core narrative that seems to be coming out. Eddie's producing or is looking to produce data models to say that Newcastle should be in European places. Their expected position is far higher than where we are in reality. How potentially has this database defense for PIF? So let's add a little bit of context, because for me, your underperformance versus XG, your poor finishing versus chances created, individual errors, and we'll go over them literally straight after this. Once I've spoken to you guys, costing us major points in certain games that you expect. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just ask you this. Are we unlucky or just lacking quality in key moments?
Go on, Porgy.
That's always me first. We're lacking leadership. I think that's the big problem. We're lacking, when did this pendulum football come in that we've been playing for the last for this season? when was that ever part of our game? I was thinking about this the day. When was it ever Newcastle not to be attacking, like going for it, at least against teams, and having that strong defence? So, no, I don't think it is. Yes, there are individual errors there, but I think it's because of the type of football that we're playing that we're putting ourselves in the position that we're in a position to make individual errors. So, it's about the fact that this has been all season, but why haven't things changed? And it's down to players, it's down to management, it's down to coaches. We haven't found that balance to be able to play properly. And does anybody really enjoy the fact that is anybody looking forward to this weekend? I suppose is the big question.
Well, I am. I think Brighton are playing really well.
Are you thinking things are going to change? And that's the problem now. We've went all season with the premise that things will change, things will get better, things can only get better, and they haven't.
No, and I think that's the big question, mate. Tina, go on, let me
just to answer your specific thing there. You said, when did the pendulum football start?
Yeah.
Trust me, the pendulum football didn't start this summer. It was pendulum football all last season.
We weren't as bad as we are now.
Last season got us to the Champions League. Yeah, we did. We were seeing it time, and not just this season, last season as well. Am I right, Gary?
Yeah, I think you noticed it a lot more since Bunsey's come on board, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
I think Eddie Howe and Steve's just bang on in the chat there. He's just thrown it up. He took the words out of my mouth. I think what you've seen is a transition between this fast and furious to possession-based football. The biggest problem is I don't think there's that many players that wear a black and white shirt that are comfortable with the ball at the feet, especially when they're being pressed themselves. And I think that is where Newcastle have found themselves weak in certain parts of the game, especially, I mean, you look at us when we get pushed into a corner. We never look like a team confident of bringing that ball to safety. It just usually you just get your laces through it and see where it goes to. We've been very lucky in certain games, to be fair, where we haven't conceded from putting ourselves under a lot of pressure. I always call it the hot potato syndrome. Is literally like it's like playing with a hot potato at your feet. Nobody really wants it, and you can see, when people start questioning the pass when it comes to them. After literally the weekend, I don't know how many times Win shouted, "That's a bloody hospital ball," and these are no more than 15-yard passes. And if you can't pass 15 yards to a player's feet and not give the opposing player the opportunity to take the ball away from you, then there's something desperately wrong for me. I think it's been more
lose the ball the way, Gary, isn't it? So
absolutely.
If you're going to lose the ball, if you're going to lose the ball, be playing a positive pass. Try passing it forward. Get the ball. But as Win said, we're playing 15-yard, 10-yard, 5-yard passes across and back. If you lose it there, and if your passing's crap like it has been, if you lose it there, you're in big trouble. But if you're taking the chances further forward, then it's less of a risk. I think that's been the big thing where we've been bad passing is in central midfield, not forward of that.
But I think the biggest thing that you've noticed this season, even if we're passing a ball, we saw it. I can't remember who it was against. It was Murphy, I think, passing the ball on the diagonal. We lose the ball, and then they go on and score a goal. That is literally in the attacking third, and they have literally played 3 balls through our midfield, and they've gone on to score a goal. And I think the biggest problem for me, there's a lot of elements in Newcastle's football that has shifted. And I think, from that high press, high energy, going to a possession-based team that haven't got the knowledge, technical ability to be that. I think Eddie Howe's literally trying to make, something out of a sour puss. It just doesn't work. And that's what I said. I can't understand why they don't stick with what has been tried and tested and worked. Now you've got a little bit more of depth of players within the squad. I have been one of those people that said it's a better team, a better squad this season. and I stick by that. The problem is, it's a better squad if you stay with what you've been doing over the last 4 years. Once you start changing the narrative, them players that you've brought in, which aren't brilliant, but they'll do a job for you. And that's what I can't understand, why Eddie Howe has changed his philosophy in playing. Tina and Mighty, what are your thoughts?
Sorry, Tina. Yeah, go on.
Go on, Tina.
So originally when we started playing like a little bit less intense, a little bit less pressing, I thought it had something to do with the medical side, which is something that I was pushing months ago. But there's other factors that I've started thinking about since then. For example, maybe part of it is was a lack of confidence. We started the season with a lot of players missing, including not actually having a recognised centre forward. By the time we got these players back, we were already on a bit of a losing streak, although we were still in plenty of cup competitions and still doing well in them, so maybe that doesn't check out. My other thought was, obviously, because originally, as I say, I thought it was, top down, it was getting past to Eddie. You cannot have them running, they're going to pick up injuries. But then the more that I've watched games recently, I think it's genuinely just we don't have a player who's willing to unlock a team. Like whether that's with trying some sort of killer pass, with exceptions to Nick Waldemara against Arsenal. That's the first time I've seen somebody trying something, going on a good little run, taking a player on, trying some sort of creative pass for quite a while. And the weird thing about changing the system this season is that the players that were brought in, with possible exceptions to Waldemara, were all players who would have fit the original blueprint. Like, we had players who could hit quickly on the break. We had players who had a bit of speed and a bit of athleticism to continue doing the high press, and we've not really seen, except for in a couple of games, which is, and the thing is about those games where we've done that, it stood out like a sore thumb. Like we'll talk about it like massively big, and the press is back, and we were pressing, and it's like a massive deal. Whereas 2 years ago it was just okay. This is who Newcastle United are. So it is really bizarre to see, and it could come down to the medical side. Although I would have hoped that they would have given that up by now because it hasn't worked. It could come down to sheer confidence, which is a big part of football. It seems to be affecting definitely Wissa. Maybe a few of the other players. Langa seems to have really been lacking confidence. And except for that, I mean, it's hard to know why we would purposely do that change. Again, maybe somebody who's just got to be a bit of creativity in, like, okay, maybe he's not a number 10 because we don't play with a number 10, but a proper, like, creative number 8, like an Iniesta, a Deco, somebody who can do something, get at a team, take a player on, play a killer pass, like something. I mean, if we had that against Arsenal, we would have absolutely ripped them apart.
Yeah, you're right. I totally agree. Win, what's your thoughts, mate?
Just while you've been talking there, I've been looking up just a couple of stats in terms of how many goals, how many games, Premier League games, we've scored 3 or more goals in. 22-23, 11 games we scored 3 or more. 23-24, 15 games we scored 3 or more. And that was when our whole intensity is our identity, high press game was coming on. 23-24, 22-23, 23-24, respectively 11 more than 3 or more, and 23-24, 15 3 or more. Bunce came in at the start of 24-45, and of course we had that horrendous injury season in 23-24, when nonetheless that intense pressing, which created the injuries, allegedly, also got 15 games where we scored 3 goals or more. Bunce came in 24-25, 10 games that were scored 3 or more. 25-26, 1 game. So when we started turning away from the high press Intensity is our identity football. When we turned our back on that in favour of energy retention and whatever else goes with having fewer injuries, 10-1 as opposed to 11-15.
Yeah, it is a
Taking
massive
that Premier
difference.
League games win, yeah, that's Premier. When was the last time anybody, you guys came away from a Premier League game feeling absolutely pumped, feeling, would
Everton.
really, really done? Even Everton.
Even Everton.
I think, I
No,
don't
but you
think we're...
think
for
you're
me,
round the corner.
When was the last time there was like a Tottenham feeling? Like, where we went... Well, even Man United we did because we both got a last-minute winner.
Yeah.
In Liverpool, it was because we were challenging in the last minute. But when's the last time we've come away with a victory like Tottenham where, you've just felt, that's Newcastle United at their best.
Yeah, but that Tottenham 6-1 was all based on high pressing.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, when was... If it was working, why change the bugger?
Well, because David Mitchell bought Bunsen. Paul Mitchell bought Bunsen, and they said this is not sustainable. Which actually, there was facts to back that up. Because 23-24, when we missed out on Europe, that was the season when we were decimated with injuries. We had more injuries than anybody has ever had.
I can accept that to a point. But for the last 3 games, there's been absolutely no reason we couldn't just went into those games and give absolutely everything.
That's right. And then now you're talking about the players.
Well, no, I'm talking about the manager and the players. There's no reason why we couldn't have went into these last few games and just give everything, And hey, if we lose, if we're out there and we're playing like we did against, as I say, Tottenham's a bad example because that was a really good game for us. But if we're playing that high intensity, brilliant football and we lose a game, you can take that. What you can't take is losing the game because nobody trying. You pass the ball across the back and the manager on the bench doesn't make the substitutions that he can to make things better.
It doesn't change it up, does he?
I
think your mate Ads has come in with the best answer to that, mate. When was the last time we actually enjoyed a full 90 minutes? I can't think of any this season, and I think that sums it up beautifully. If I'm honest with you,
it does.
Listen, this is something that I can't really get my mojo in when we analyse games. Listen, we've been slagged off massively this channel for being negative. We've lost a hell of a lot of members because of our negativity towards Eddie Howe, NUFC, and things like that. Well, and I've said from day one, I never hold a candle to any player. I never hold a candle to any coach or stroke manager. I'm a Newcastle fan, and I'll see and talk about a game the way I see and talk about the game. It's not to try and big up Eddie Howe. It's not about bigging up Newcastle. It's about telling the truth. And I just think, sometimes you are going to, if you can't critique openly without somebody taking the huff, then, I think there's something wrong. And like I said, I look at the game and you're right, Boki. I just don't see, and Ads is absolutely right. There's certain games this season where you've come out and you've pumped because you've got a result, not because the performance has been good. And I think that's the difference from last season compared to this season. We've scraped results this season. And I don't think that is beneficial to anybody, if I'm honest with you. So this is one for you, Bokes. Do you trust the data or your eyes?
That one, I don't look at any of the data. Do you know what?
Exactly.
I think if you go through a season and if you can justify the season with data and you want to sit there and do that, that's fine. That's your thing. That's what you want to do. That's how you see football now. You want to, see those figures and, XG. I don't even know what the rest of the crap is, but what players' ratings are, things like that. You sit and watch with your eyes and you're disappointed this season as a fan. So I think the slightly different types of fan now, if you like. There's fans who will go on a data-based system. I worry Eddie Howe does this a little bit too much. everything's on facts and figures. Use your eyes, use your heart. You can see which
absolutely.
player is out there giving their all for a club. You can see who can't be bothered, can't be, it doesn't care about the club at all. So
No, he's spot on, mate.
you
Absolutely
you
spot
use
on.
use your eyes to see who's giving you heart, because you can look like you've got fantastic figures. Not me personally, because obviously I haven't got a fantastic figure.
Yeah, I've got a figure like the Taj Mahal.
But no, you can use figures to sort of create a narrative. But I think you can't really use your eyes to do that if you're not in love with, like, the players this season. Bruno Hall probably are the players that I still feel affection for, me heart, because they give everything when they're on the pitch. Most of the time. The rest of them, I think Tonali a little bit as well. Tonali tries, but the rest of them, do you see complete heart from them?
Yeah, I must admit, I never thought, I'll be honest with you, under Eddie Howe's mantra, I would ever see the lad here upset. Never thought I'd see it. I never thought I'd hear him call him out. And I think it just goes to show when I've got, for me, probably one of the all-time Newcastle supporters that I class as a friend. I never thought I'd see the day where...
You make me blush, Gary.
Well, I'm just saying, I feel, I've always said, I'd love to have that half glass, never mind the full glass. And I love that. And that's what I said. I think sometimes, when I do these shows, when I do these shows and I put the work in to try and make it work for the first part of the show, I think without you guys, I don't think I could do it, if that makes any sense, because it's you guys that lift me up to do the next one. I try and sit and be the middle man, if you like, in and amongst all the chat and all the gaslight.
We all feel like about Win though this season. Everybody wanted Win to be right.
Absolutely.
The chat go through now saying that you're the one that talks sense, but nobody wanted that to be the case. I'd love to be sitting here just every week in, week out.
But it wasn't
rubbish.
The case a few weeks ago, mate. That's what I'm saying. You were, you were Darth Vader. You were on the dark side, big style, and you had a lot of.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, I know, mate. But I think a lot of people just thought you were just dangling the carrot to bite on. And to be fair, like I said, you've spoke sense all the way through. All I was trying to do, counteracting the argument, is not just point towards Eddie Howe, because I do think, and I still do think, it's more than just the coach. Yeah, Prosaic again. Thank you so much, buddy. Stephen NUFC, that's gone to you, sir. Welcome on board. With that one, I'll just put you on the screen just in case you don't know who you are. So again, if you can, do us a favour and continue your membership. That will be Prosaic's honour. And thank you so much to Prosaic for gifting it out. Thank you so much.
Absolute superstar.
Absolutely. He's in line with Wissa. He's really pushing the belt and ads. You guys are superb. So you two, I'm going to give you this one to both you, the happier side of life, if I like. Is it a valid excuse for Eddie Howe, or is it just a smokescreen?
Go on, Bogey. I think he's talking to you.
No, I'm talking to you. Come on.
No, it was a joke because you said happy.
I know, I'm jesting with you.
Can you repeat the question? Because I was getting ready to make that joke about Bogey.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you guys believe in your heart of hearts that that's a valid excuse for Eddie Howe, or is it just a smokescreen?
I mean, I think potentially that's a hard question to answer, to be fair. Because, to be fair, you can look at what Eddie's done previously to this season, and you can say, okay, so he's a fantastic coach, fantastic manager. And then you look at this season, there is valid criticisms that you could put at him in situations where maybe he should have been a bit better himself. And there's certain times when he's not really helped his own case by what he's been doing, like in regards to team management, in regards to even interviews that he's giving or things that he's saying about certain players, like when he almost rocked the boat with Bruno. So there is an argument for both. I think right now the proof's got to be there. Like this last few games, although there's potentially not a lot to play for, I think this is where, if he's going to start winning fans back, it needs to be now. And like I don't really know what, like, when we're talking about people going off data or eyes, I don't really know which one of those Eddie Howe's using at the moment. So yeah, it's I honestly, when it comes to Eddie Howe now, I really do not know what to say. Like it's such a, okay, well, it could be this or it could be that. We're kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere. Like the wheels haven't completely fallen off, because we're still seeing a couple of good performances. But at the same time, the wheels have kind of started falling off a bit. There's a couple of screws that have come loose. And recovering from that, like, it needs to, it's going to have to happen, because otherwise the fans are going to turn on him. Once the fans turn on him, how long is it going to take before PIF turn on him? And like, I honestly think that this whole Muffin Hall thing, I think people were expecting to see a bit more come out of that. In regards to Eddie Howe, whether that was like a proper, okay, Eddie Howe is staying, or a proper, okay, Eddie Howe is going, or there would be something coming out of, okay, Eddie's been told this. So there's not really a lot happening in him. There's not really a lot being given away by him either. Like, all of his interviews are very cookie cutter. So whereas I can give a lot of opinions about a lot of the players in the team, Eddie Howe's kind of like almost shrouded in mystery on exactly how I should feel or think about, like, what he's doing, and how much he's being protected, or how much it's on him, if that makes sense.
Can I just quickly answer that, Gary, saying you're a little bit of a sod with these questions, because you did the same to me, but flipped the other way when it was sort of everybody wanting Eddie in. and now it's people wanting Eddie out. It's hard for I know how it was in the past, trying to defend wanting to get rid of a cup winning UEFA Champions League winning manager. So, I think we've got to take it both ways. But Tina did a great job there trying to justify Eddie this season, or trying to give a balanced view on what you thought.
But it is that is the scenario that we are in. We do have well, maybe not half, but a big chunk of the fan base trying to get rid of the only manager who's got us in the Champions League football for goodness knows how long. The first manager to win a trophy since, like, since Jesus was walking around the planet. Like, he has done so much for this club. He's brought in some of the best players I've seen wearing a black and white t-shirt. But a lot of fans are at a point now where they are just desperate to get rid of Eddie Howe. Like, I've heard fans, even yourself, Borky, have said you don't care who it is as long as it's not Eddie Howe. And it's such a weird situation to be in, where I can see everything that I'm loving about Eddie Howe as a manager of Newcastle United, but I can also see why people are like, not enjoying this season, and then seeing a lot of people who are like, oh, he's the worst manager ever. And each week that we go past where nothing's coming out, tactics aren't changing, the interviews aren't changing, nothing's being really said to uplift the mood at all. It kind of does get hard to defend. The only thing that I look for is like little snippets of, for example, when Wissa and Walter came on at the weekend, I was genuinely quite excited to see what they've got for the rest of the season and next season. But then even when I'm looking at the next season, there's the massive question mark of, will either of those still be here? Will Eddie still be here? Like, it's such a, like, literally my position, the position that I can see for Newcastle United right now is literally just a massive question mark.
Yeah, this is a good one from David. We have a list of questions for you, Eddie. We will run down the list from 1 to 20, and depending on your overall score and our ability to help you hit certain targets, will guide our future plans. I think that's classic.
And what, as usual, cheers, was that. Reed, would you choose your partner from stats or eyesight?
Depends what stats, doesn't it?
I was going to say this.
Well, I was going to say, it's whether the
I've
light
got a
was on or
feeling-
off, mate. That's what I'm going to say.
36, 23, 36.
I've got a
Indeed,
feeling-
yeah.
Yeah, I had a
That's
feeling,
exactly.
because when you said stats, I had a feeling Win and Borky were talking about completely different stats to what I was thinking, which I was thinking, okay, like, what's his portfolio? Does he own a company? What cars is he driving?
Yeah,
We didn't read out was a super track from the start of the night. I think that was the best one so
Oh,
far.
I missed that one.
Oh, it's all about Bokeh. You're the best, mate. That's what it was. That's the only reason why Bokeh wants it.
And why? No,
No, before that one.
Oh, sorry, before that one. Right, here we go.
There you go.
Boogie, you're looking good tonight. You're the best, mate. Oh, that's since he jumped over the fence.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple.
Peter
I think
McCardle's
one's already-
in. He says,
I'm going to throw this out.
Who do
out to the-
which
go on.
of you think leaves first? Voltemada or Eddie?
Voltemada. As much as I hate to say it, I think if Voltemada doesn't fit the plans going forward, even though for me, I want to see him. Somebody's put in a team. I have started. We're going to go through that in a second.
So does that mean that you're convinced Eddie Howe is definitely starting next season?
I am, yes.
Because I don't even know how convinced to feel about that. Like, I'm honestly, I mean, I'm quite well known for occasionally having quite a strong outgoing opinion. I just don't know what opinion to have on whether Eddie Howe is going to start next season. Like, I don't even know whether to start thinking about what Eddie Howe can change, or whether to start thinking, okay, should I get a Jose Mourinho t-shirt? Like, it's such a weird one. And the thing is with Walter Maida is, I honestly would hate it if we got rid of him. Like, as much as I love Eddie Howe, I would probably prefer to keep Nick Waldemara over Eddie Howe, because there's something about Nick that makes him look like a player you want to see develop. Like, the small little bits we've seen, the little flicks, the little chips over the top, the little, the little bit now, and especially now that he started learning how to deal with getting roughed up a little bit, which we've finally seen. But he's got. I love a player who's got a little bit of a flick in him, basically, and Walter Mara's got that, and I believe he's got bags of potential and could become absolutely lethal in the Premier League. At the same time, though, Eddie Howe could get us back in the Champions League next year, so it's kind of like...
I agree with what David's put here. Look, it's not about getting rid of Eddie, it's about building a club feared by others. Because, I mean, I mentioned many moons ago that it doesn't look like St James's Park is a fortress anymore. And the wheels hadn't fallen off quite as much as they have at the moment. And you could see it happening. That was my issue. You could see the way Newcastle were playing back then. I just didn't think there was, and that's some of my remarks. Have they left something in the locker because of the amount of games they're playing and all this? Is it the fact that it's lost in translation? I was just trying to give Eddie Howe as much rope as I possibly could to try and get him out of this conundrum.
Can I just quickly answer Brian Penny, who has replied to what I've just said with flicks don't win games, it's goals. I'm not sure if you've been watching this season, but one of Waldemara's goals was a flick. So,
it was.
Technically speaking, we're talking the same language here.
Just on that point with Voltemada, I think if we look back in 5 years' time, we'll be a lot more depressed and disappointed if we've got rid of Voltemada than if we've got rid of Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
I think Voltemada is going to be a class player. At this point,
he's going to be a class player for somebody. That's the problem.
He's going to be a brilliant player, and if we get the right manager in to manage him, he's going to be. He is potentially the world beater in our squad. He's the one that, if they're on about getting winning Premier Leagues in by 2030, he's potentially the guy that could do that for you. He's the one that can unlock that key, but he needs a manager who's got the right key for it.
Yeah, Chris Hoskins here, he's saying, Gary, how bad does it look that Eddie bringing Tyndall to a CEO meeting? It shows incompetence and that he needs Tyndall for everything. And again, is Tyndall part of the data guy, or is it the fact that he's got that many boxes of data that he needs a buddy to come and carry them for him? I mean, if they've got 20 carrying the 5 bags, the 5 people's bags, I mean, there's 25 as we said yesterday. I mean, you don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't. I
that
don't
was
see
somebody
any...
tongue in cheek, to be fair.
Yeah, of course it was. That's what I was saying. Why is Tyndall there though? I don't think Tyndall needs to be there. If
I had Jason Tyndall, I would take him all over the place with me.
Yeah, I know you would.
Pretty
but for
cool
the different,
hair, wasn't he?
You're going to say for the different reasons though, for you, isn't it?
I mean, probably.
There you go. Hiya, Tina. Hair flick here. One previous owner says.
We missed Ads' previous chat as well. Not that he was praising anybody up, but
keeping our spirits up. Borky's always right. And then was us back in.
Not that he's praising anyone.
Hey, Tina,
Borky, you've lied to us.
Flick your hair. One previous owner. Sorry. Hiya, Tina. Hair flick here.
Yeah,
hello.
Hello.
They should have said hello instead of hiya, was it?
Yeah.
Hello. Hair flick
I like
here.
your piss port. I love it.
Was it the Madonna with the smick boobies? Was it, or the painting?
It was something, wasn't it? Yeah, I can't
with
think.
the big boobies.
Big boobies, yeah.
The big boobies. I was trying to...
The fallen Madonna, that was what it was. The fallen Madonna with the big boobies.
With the big boobies, yeah.
Tina's got no idea what we're talking about here.
I was trying to explain to my missus, who's Polish, about the show. I don't know whether you know this one, Boki. Mind Your Language, which was back in the day.
That's good.
And I'll tell you something now. There's bits and pieces on YouTube, and she was absolutely creased. And I said, you couldn't do this.
You couldn't do
type
it
of stuff
anymore.
Here's one for you guys out there in viewerland. Then this is it's a split one. Are we better than results show that we are, or does the table never lie? So all I want you to put is 2 words. Just put results or table in the chat, and we'll see who wins. I wish I had a poll because I don't.
There's only one result in the table.
You do have a poll. You've just said your wife's Polish. Hey, Tina with the joke. The best example of eyes over stats has to be Sandro Tonali, because a lot of people who are looking at stats are saying, "Oh, Sandro's terrible. He's not that good anyway." Win even did a thing a couple of weeks ago where we saw that, technically speaking, statistically, Tonali's our worst midfielder. But every game I watch him play, I think he's one of the best players on the pitch. By absolute leaps and bounds. The only time I would say that stats have ever been needed for a player was Didier Deschamps, who a lot of people thought wasn't doing much. But people would question why he was in the French national side, and then you looked at it, 100% pass completion every single game, every interception won, and you're like, oh right, he does literally everything. But then you're watching him, and he wasn't Thierry Henry, he wasn't Robert Pires, he wasn't Zinedine Zidane, he wasn't one of the flashy players. I mean, even Lilian Thuram was more flashy than Didier Deschamps. But without Deschamps, France was nothing back then. So that's the only time I've seen stats matter more than eyes, because they were just looking back on it. But generally speaking, you've got to go with what you see, haven't you? Like I said yesterday, you cannot just, go based on Championship Manager. Otherwise, 10 years ago, everybody would have bought Freddie Adu because he was going to be the best player in the world. How did that work out for her?
It looks like Table has got the hit. It's a shame I couldn't put a poll up, but like I say, this is all from Chrissy's.
It can only be Table.
Of course it can, absolutely. But let's have a look then, because this is, another thing that I have spent a little bit of time trying to collate. So data versus reality, the error problem I've created this one as. All right, so we've heard the argument. Data models say Newcastle should be pushing for Europe. And here's the problem. Those models don't always account for something very simple. Repeated mistakes, costly mistakes. Because when you dig into the numbers properly, it isn't bad luck. It's a pattern of play. So some of the key stats here, I'm going to throw in 20 errors leading to a shot since mid-December, 5 directly leading to a goal, 19 goals conceded late, the worst in the league, 25 points dropped from winning positions. We all know the stats. 70% of goals conceded are from either set pieces or immediately after losing possession. Those aren't marginal details. Those are structural red flags for me. And this is why I said, what can Eddie Howe, bring to the table regarding his data that's going to put a blanket over some of the errors? I mean, let's just have a focal point, if you like, on Nick Pope. He's the joint most errors leading to goals in the league. multiple handling parry issues, 9 basic goalkeeper errors flagged in analysis. Like I say, if you go through Opta, they give you all of this stuff. I'm not just taking it out of thin air. Is this still our number one next season? I mean, that's the question. They're looking at different keepers now.
The short answer to that is no. And the long answer to that is nope.
No. Yeah, exactly. Has his injury completely changed him? And that was the other thing. Since he's dislocated his shoulder, I mean, even though we've all said, he seems to have come back the same.
Has he put it back in yet? Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, that is the problem. And I mean, like I say, if you look at it, how many points has Pope personally cost us? And I suppose those are the areas, and that's just looking at the keeper. Do
you know what's annoying about Nick Pope though? If you look at again the Arsenal game, and I know I keep mentioning the Arsenal game, but if Wissa had finished that chance, Nick Pope would have been responsible for that point, because as much as he was an absolute lunatic who seemed to have no clue what he was doing for 95% of that match, he did make one absolutely blinding save that many Premier League goalkeepers wouldn't have saved.
Yeah.
So, that's the annoying thing about Nick Pope, is that he does have that ability to pull out like a Hollywood save. But then the rest of the time, he's sprinting halfway up the pitch to be a defensive midfielder for some reason when the man can't even kick a ball to his own right back.
Monkey's view to me. I love it. I'm sick of seeing Pope so far off his line. He's offside. Oh, that's classic.
Fair point, though.
Thank you ever so much, dude. That is a great line.
I know I've been screaming out all season. I've been screaming for a number 6. I didn't mean Nick Pope, though. I meant, the midfielder or a defender, not with a goalkeeper. But surely he's not going to be number 1 next season. And look, if he's watching this, Nick, I love you. You've been a fantastic goalkeeper for us. Probably one of the best we've had for a while. Probably since Tim Krul. But, jeez, I shouldn't be having a heart attack every time my own team's goalkeeper gets past a football, or every time a team goes on a break. I don't want to be looking out the corner of my eye and thinking, oh my God, is Nick Pope going to appear on screen before these even get to the box? That's not, I don't want to be feeling that every game. Please, Nick, stop doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
The problem is that we've left ourselves so much work to do in this transfer window.
That is the big problem for me.
That's the big problem that, we're sort of, you're looking at Pope and you're looking at Ramsdale, and I know me and Wynne have discussed this in the past before they were as bad as they've got, but really that was the position that we thought, well, maybe that's somewhere that you improve the next season. Because, we're going to need 2 right backs, a centre back, a left back, potentially a winger, a midfielder, and somebody up front. That's a hell of a rebuild, and then if players start leaving as well, it gets even bigger.
Let's just throw a little bit of a blanket over what you've just mentioned there, then, buddy. This is what Mark Douglas has come out and said. Again, this is certain things that he's listened and heard through the grapevine. Newcastle, believe it or not, are looking for free agents, players with little known or time-sensitive release clauses, up and coming talent from European markets, off the radar targets seen as having untapped potential. So there you go. There's the areas. To be fair, I would never in my wildest dreams ever thought that I would say free agents under the Eddie Howe ceiling, if I'm honest with you, because it's something that Eddie Howe has never really looked at all. Are you guys surprised looking at that list of potentials that Newcastle are looking into to see where the next players are coming through? Or is it something that Newcastle have to do because of the constraints regarding finances?
But if you remember, we looked at, quite recently, in the last couple of weeks, I think we looked at a list of free agents who were coming. I remember, there was Wilson at Fulham who was there, Stones at Man City. And either of those, assuming they don't want the earth in wages, I would, why not?
Yeah.
If it means you can put the funds that you have got into other positions, yes, arguably saying that They are squad players, but you're getting them for nothing other than the wages. So you've got
Thank
to
you
be.
for the super chat, Wissa.
You don't give them, 5-year contracts, obviously. But 2 seconds till I get that super chat.
Kelly was on a free. Yeah, you're absolutely spot on.
So there's somebody. It's
Tina is all shoulders, knees, and toes.
I saw that. I don't even know
Love
what that
you.
means. Don't mention knees around me because I'll just start getting picked on by these three again.
Hang
Because
on.
I famously got
Eyes and ears.
You must have heard of head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Eyes and ears and
Head,
chin and
shoulders,
Oh, the
knees,
shampoo.
and
Oh,
toes,
no, not
knees,
the
and
shampoo.
toes.
Oh, the
Head,
song.
Shoulders,
Yeah,
knees,
yeah, yeah.
and
Oh,
toes,
days.
knees, and eyes, and yeah, that's the one.
There you go. I think he
Okay.
was there somewhere. Foxy saying there's so many gems available for free this summer or in December. There you go. Like I say, Travoy's in there saying free agents utterly pathetic. That's what I said. Free agents aren't a problem as long as the free agents come and do a job for you. We've all seen and heard what Kelly's doing at Juventus, which he's been absolutely slated for. And again, I think that was damn good business, bringing him on a free, getting 20 million for him, if I'm honest with you. Lee saying Christina's got hairy knees. How do you know? Anyway, let's get on with the show. Let's talk because, like I say, I've just noticed the time. We've flown by tonight, and I've still got quite a bit to get through. Let's look at the defensive unit then. And like I say, some of these are unlucky. But I've put them in because it just gives us a bit of a broader picture of conceding goals. So Botman own goal, West Ham, Hall mistake versus Man City, Burn penalty, plus the red card incident, which we were all shouting, get Burn off, way before that incident. So midfield turnovers, Tonali, Joe Linton, Bruno at times losing the ball when he's doing his 180s, literally from the 40-yard line mark. Gordon losing possession in dangerous areas. When I look at this, it's a personal issue. It's like players probably sometimes having loads more confidence than the position of them getting dispossessed, gives the team. How many times have we seen, and I go back to the Anthony Gordon one, where we were in that transition of going forward from where Anthony Gordon was, and instead of passing it inside, he then decides to try and turn the ball, and he gave the ball away when the players were on the wrong side of the ball. And I can't remember what team that was against now, but we did go on to concede. I know where that was Brighton. For some unknown reason, I've got Brighton in my brain. It was one of them. It was either Everton or Brighton. I'm sure it was a blue shirt. I've got blue in my mind anyway, but that's probably a different channel altogether.
Hey!
And for me, we're in April, and it still seems as though we're making very similar or same mistakes. So when Eddie goes out and actually coaches and does game management in the training ground, what is he giving them to do where we still see repeated issues on the field of play? If he's saying to them, keep hold of the ball and pass it, and we're now in April and this keep hold of the ball and pass it philosophy isn't working, I'm sure any coach worth his salt will say, you know what, don't try and play this way, play this way. Because for me, I'm going to put a table up in a minute because I know you guys love my tables.
I love a table.
You don't get to April and still think it's been a successful season, even though this table will tell you either way, it could swing both ways, and yet relegation is still on the cards. So, like I said, for me, there's got to be some tactical angle, to get past this sticking point in this team, because like I say, keeping the ball just doesn't seem to suit the players that Eddie Howe. And again, I mentioned this, it's an Eddie Howe team. We cannot blame anybody else now. I mean, gone are the days. Yes, he's still got Murphy and J7, which were, Brucey's players. He's still got a couple of players that are there, but
Eddie Howe's version of Joe Linton, though, isn't it? Because Joe Linton was a striker under Bruce, and then he became the best midfielder in the world for a couple of seasons.
But that was only through injury, though, wasn't it? That was again more by necessity. And again, we saw what happened with J7 when he was moved from a forward line into a midfielder, and how much praise he got for that. If it had done the same with Voltemada, And again, that was the gamble. You know, it's not been that long ago where we saw that gamble work. And Eddie tried to gamble again with Voltemora, and it backfired. So sometimes it goes for you as a coach, sometimes it doesn't. But they're two different players. Yeah, exactly.
Joe Lennon's built for midfield, isn't he? I mean, Joe Lennon's built like Hulk Hogan, whereas Nick Waldemora's built like me. Like, there's a massive difference there. Like, he's a tall version of me. Like, come on, that's not going to work in midfield.
J7 should be in MMA, never mind football. I think that's the difference. I mean, let's have a look at this tactical angle. Like I say, I'm trying to race through this, and I apologise because I want to be asking you guys some questions. The pressing structure gets exposed. Build-up play too risky under pressure. Poor rest defence. Shape after losing ball. And what I'm saying is, because we were on the transition going forward, sometimes what we get is an elevation of fullbacks getting beyond the ball. To give us a little bit of flexibility right and left and a bit of balance. The problem is, if we lose the ball when them guys are far too advanced, we are virtually exposed at the back, because then it becomes virtually man for man. And I think that is the problem. So I'm gonna stop and shut up, because I know you guys are sick of hearing my voice. Are we trying to play like an elite possession side without elite players?
Well, I've been saying that all season. That's exactly what we're trying to do. We've abandoned what we did well with lesser talented players. And the cry has been going up from all and sundry, telling Eddie to buy more technical players instead of athletes. And, yeah, that's fine if you're going to adopt the non-pressing style possession football. But if you're going to do all of that, that is not going to happen overnight. It's impossible for it to happen overnight. And do I want to see that? Not particularly. I am not a fan of pep football. I would far rather see high intensity, aggression, passion, everything that goes with what we saw in the first couple of years under Eddie.
Boki, Tina, anything to say?
I think the problem is, if you're the manager, what you want him to be saying to the players is, it doesn't matter about style of football or anything like that particularly. It's about players being free to play their own game. So what you want players to be able to do, yes, you've got a structure and you've got things that are in place, and you've got a defensive structure, you've got the up-front structure, but sometimes you just want players to play the game. Sometimes you just want them to be able to think to themselves, I can do this in my managerial backers. And that doesn't look to be the case. It doesn't look to be the case that if they go off script of what Eddie wants, he'll keep them in the team and be happy with that. He's got such a rigid way of playing football, and that's his philosophy, and that's how he has it in his head that he wants what to play. And, if it wouldn't work, I suppose it wouldn't work up, because you look at the big games we've had, in regards to how we've played, it's all been around complete rigid structure. So the cup final, the big games that we've had have all been built around the fact that he had his focus in place and the players did exactly what he said. I think to move to that next level...
And it was successful.
Well, it was. But I think to move to that next level, if you want to do what he's doing now, you've got to give the players a little bit of that freedom. And hey, you see every big team making mistakes. You see them losing the ball, but you've got to have the players have got to have that freedom to do that, because what you're looking for is them to do better in regards to how many mistakes they make. So they might make 1 in 10 mistakes, but 5 in 10 might end up with a goal for us. So I think with the new system he's trying to play, you've got to give players a little bit of freedom, and he seems like a guy who just can't give away that little bit of control.
What's weird is the one player that does, like, I don't know if it's just because he doesn't have the ability to be rigid, but the one player that's actually looked quite impressive in this bad run has been Wissa, who's the most unpredictable, unshackled player at the team, and it actually seems to get results for him. And yeah, fair enough, I mean, he falls over his own feet while he's doing it, but there's no rigidity to it. He moves around, and the things that I've mentioned about him is all things that you wouldn't associate with a lot of the rest of the team. And the thing is about this is I don't know when that became a thing, because you were mentioning before about Win was mentioning about the intensity and the passion, and we've still got the players that showed that when it was like our main thing. We've still got Joe Linton, we've still got Bruno. You know, they were the players who really, like, what's the word, personified. But you see, I can use big words too, guys.
Exactly.
Personified the idea of that intensity, that passion. You know, cheering when you put a tackle in, and it's what struck me though again is, if this is Eddie trying to get them to play a certain way, he needs to have seen by now that it's not working. And yeah, in spells of games, it's looking good, but for 75 minutes of most games, it's not looking good. And for a lot of the 25 points dropped from winning positions, surely that's got to be an alarm bell. But he has came out more than once and said, this isn't what I'm asking them to do. So is it his rigidity, or is there just something like lacking in, like we've been saying a little bit before?
Just quickly picking up on that point, if it's not what he's asking them to do, why doesn't he get them off the pitch? If you've got players on the pitch who aren't doing what you're telling them to do, and you're the manager, you get them off. That's what a good manager would do.
Is there a chance that the whole Isaac situations rattled his confidence to be able to stamp down some authority?
Well, because, if it has, then he's not good enough to be a Premier League manager. If we're talking about confidence being rattled by things like that, he's not good enough to be in the Premier League. He has to have that confidence in himself to be a Premier League manager.
He's qualified for Champions League twice for the relegation team. He's won the Carabao Cup. This is what I'm saying with Eddie Howe.
The old arguments,
but this is what I'm saying with Eddie Howe. You can put an argument on one side.
No, I've
and then
tried
you can
not
put
to.
an argument on the other.
I've deliberately tried not to. Has that got called for calling out a broken record? But in regards to this, if you're an elite manager or you're a good manager, you make the big decisions. That's why he's on £9 million a year. Well, £6 million, £9 million. Where I'm sure it's a nightmare if he doesn't get his bonus this year and loses out on £3 million.
Sure, he'll survive.
I'm sure he will. But
that's
that's why you're paid, and that's why you're at this level, is because you're elite. And if you're not, if you can't do it, then you've got to go.
But that's what I'm saying about Eddie. It's such a question mark, because he has shown greatness in the past for us, and then there's also the argument that he's been dreadful. Like it's such a, you can make an argument for both, and both can be equally strong arguments. That was exactly my point that I was trying to make about how confusing it is with Eddie at the minute.
If you haven't seen them, by the way, on YouTube, get on the YouTube, because there's a lot of shorts. Go on the channel, and there's a lot of shorts that are being produced, which are really good. And one of them in particular, when Kev was on, and he has slightly moved. He admits he's slightly moved. He's not there yet, but he has slightly moved towards the dark side.
Yeah, he's sitting on the fence.
But he was saying, with regard to changing managers, you're saying, Bogey, that he's not. The whole point is he has been successful doing that, and the thing is, we know, and this was what I'm coming on to, which is what was in the show. We know what Eddie's ceiling is, right? Because we've seen it, we've experienced it, we've loved it. We know also from this season what the nadir is, sorry. But we do know what he's capable of. And do we know, anybody who's going to replace him, do we know what their ceiling will be?
Can we use a taxi driver as an example of this?
Yes.
If you're in an area, and and you go there day in, day out and make a fortune, you keep going to that area. If you then change your area and you don't make as much money, you go back to where you were before. So why Eddie this season, when he's new high intensity, that was our strength, that was the way we played, and it worked.
Intensity is our identity.
Yeah. So why as soon as he seen he wasn't making the money, if you like, as a taxi driver, or he wasn't getting the results as a football manager, didn't he go back to the way he'd done it before? You would move back to the same area that you would be.
Has he been told he has to?
But if that is the case, then he should resign immediately and say that's constructive dismissal. Because if he's getting told he's got to play a certain style of football, or he's got
all
to
I'm
play
saying
a
is
certain team, that cannot happen at a football. As soon as that starts happening, the football club's completely out of control.
Right. So you are now saying that the manager should have control, not the director of football.
No, I'm saying in regards to picking the
hang on.
No. I've never ever said that the manager shouldn't have control of the team, and in regards to the tactics we play, the manager has to have full control of that.
But I would argue
he shouldn't have control of players that he buys.
I would argue that when Paul Mitchell came in and bought Bunce with him, Eddie received a directive then to say we cannot continue with this high press nonsense. It's resulting in far too many injuries. We need to change the tactics.
Why would he not come out and tell us that, though? If that's because I've had that theory. I even mentioned at the start that it has something to do with the physio side. Why would he not come out and say, okay, look, I get it, you aren't enjoying my football now, but we can't play the way we did because we're trying to change. He doesn't even have to put it on Bunce or on anybody else. He could just say, we're trying to play a different way so that we don't pick up so many injuries. But he hasn't came out and said that, so that's what's again making me question whether that has had anything to do with it.
Well, that is a very, very good point.
If there's people being brought in above his head, making calls on football and decisions in regards to how we play football matches and what style we play, as a manager, you'd be gone. You know, I don't. Gary's the one that's a coach here. Gary, I'm sure if someone came in, but if you were a manager of a football club and came in and said, you've got to play this style of football, or you've got to do this sort of thing, you wouldn't take it. You would take players, decisions on players in regards to bringing new players in the club, but never in regards to how you play football, because that's your role as the coach and the manager.
Well,
yeah, it's already happened to me though, mate. That's what I'm saying. And I went with whatever the chairman asked me to do.
You weren't on £6 million a year, guys.
But I wasn't. No, you're absolutely right. I was looking to get 20 quid a month, if I'm honest with you. But I mean, you're absolutely right though. I did put the side out that the chairman wanted. He was a head teacher of a private school, a grammar school, and we lost. And then as soon as we lost that game, and we lost by a considerable margin in the Midland in one of the cup competitions, and I resigned. You're absolutely right. Because, you know, at the end of the day, when you haven't got control of what's happening, there's only one person that's ever going to get criticised. And that's what I'm saying. That's why we're talking about Eddie Howe. You know, he's the one that pulls the players onto the field of play. He's the one that's got the tactical notes to go out there and try and get the lads to perform. He's the one that's got to get them motivated to perform. And that's why a lot of this conversation, or these conversations that the chat are having, that we see all across social media, that we have on a regular basis, is about Eddie Howe. And I agree, it has changed since Bunce has come on board. And it's changed where we're playing three games a week. 2 games a week, if you like, but 3 games over 8 days. It's not sustainable to play the same. And that's why Eddie has been, I wouldn't say forced to change, because it's like saying, you know, you're not going to have a team to progress through all of these challenges if you continue doing it. So it's like giving you the armour, if you like, to make the changes without being forced to change. So I think what Eddie's tried to do, as we've seen, you get the first 20 minutes of the bit of intensity, if you like. I wouldn't say high intensity, but you get the intensity. Then it seems to be backs to the wall for the rest of the game, where they're just leaving it for the game that they've got, or for me, the financial game that they had coming up in midweek. But we all thought there was going to be a change from that since you get knocked out of these competitions. And unfortunately, that's where, for me, that 5% law comes in. It's very difficult as a player to play the entire season on a 75%er than to be given, go on, just give it 100% in these matches. Mentally, you'd never get that reaction. You say all the right words. We've heard it from Wissa. Hopefully, we'll get time to come and do that. And if not, the lads in the later part of the show will get through that. It's easy to talk about it. It's so much more difficult to go out on the field of play and do it. And what you get then is the counter effect, because then you end up the likes of Elanga. Elanga looks like an amateur football because he's trying too hard. He's not relaxed with the football anymore. I've never seen players run a ball up the line and then run the ball out of play at this level as often as I've seen Elanga do it. And that's because he's trying to impress. And you can't do that. You can't afford to do that because he's not that gifted. You've just got to try and go out there and play your natural game. And that's why, for me, I would say to Voltemada, just go and fill the spaces. Don't give him a role. Just go and hit the half spaces and enjoy your football, because I think you'd see a hell of a different player. I am
Keegan management.
Indeed, and that's it. I mean, I can't understand how Eddie Howe can go into this meeting if this is what he's got, and it's about this data versus proof, if you like, of where we are. You've made so many late mistakes, if you like. I think there's far too many issues. Repeated errors. It's coaching failure, poor game management, no in-season improvement. That's the anti-Howe. Now, what people have been pro-Howe is it's individual responsibility to stop making these individual errors. The system is working. The data supports it. That's what, we've heard it all before. We've seen it. Wynn puts loads of stuff on the screen to show you that the data's there. We are, momentum-wise, we've been involved in this game right up until the final minutes. And obviously, you've got to fix personnel and results will improve. That's what they're saying. And that's why there's going to be an influx of players out and a lot of players out and an influx of players in. So, the killer line for me now is, data might tell you where you should be, but mistakes tell you exactly where you're not, the reasons why you're not there.
The one stat that goes up at the end of the year for me is where you finish in the league.
Exactly.
People have mentioned cup competitions, how well we've done. Who remembers the last teams that finished in the top 16 of the Champions League? Who remembers the last teams from the last few years that have got to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup? Who remembers the teams that are in the fifth round of the FA Cup? We look at it on those grounds, but end of the day, all you see a couple of years down the road is Newcastle were 14th, potentially a little bit higher, hopefully, but that's at best in the league. And that's the stat everybody sees going forward, and that's why it's been a disaster of a season.
Who remembers who was 6th in the league, or 8th in the league, or 9th in the league?
Well, that's it. That's it exactly. But, we're not even half runs. We're half beans in this season. How do you drop from 5th position to 14th in one season?
Well,
how do you do that?
It's not the end of the season yet.
But when there's 4 games left, let's be honest.
Can we even get? You've just said yourself.
Hang on.
You're judged at the end of the season.
Look at this then.
When your metrics that you've used for the last few weeks, where you made magnificent 7th, then how do we make Champions League this season? Using your little graph that you brought on and done. How do you do that?
Now you're saying Champions League should be a given.
No, I'm not. I'm saying how do we make? Because you were arguing we could still make Champions League. We had the magnificent 7 video. How do you do that now?
Yeah.
It's
impossible.
It's impossible.
It's not impossible.
No, it's not impossible mathematically, because this table tells you elsewise.
No, but
all possible final table positions.
Just to say, if the teams that play each other, it is actually impossible, because they can't take the points off each other that would need us to get to that point.
Newcastle could finish as high as 6th or as low as 18th. That is the possible, as we are with 4 games to go. As high as 6th, we're actually at 14th. High as 6th, as low as 18th. That is what the Premier League have put out. It's criminal to think that Spurs could finish 12th if they win their final 4 games.
It's going to be one of the
crazier,
six this season.
I mean, Nottingham Forest, who have been literally, fighting relegation the entire season, could finish as high as 6th. And that's what I said. I have never seen a Premier League this open, this far into a season in my lifetime. Since I've been watching Premier League football, if you like, and I think that's how crazy this season's been. You've got 4 games to go, and even the team in 18th can finish 12th. And it is one of those. And like I said, at the end of the day, Newcastle at this point have got to go out there and get the results themselves. They shouldn't rely on other teams to get the results for them, but that could also happen.
That's
and I think once that door closes, I think once that door closes, I think that they can probably go out there and hopefully entertain us a little bit more.
Just quickly to win, what film I won now? What won for the last 4 games?
the Fantastic Four.
Oh, the Fantastic Four.
All right.
There you go. Let's get on to the Wissa, confidence dressing room psychology, I suppose this is. I say the lads will probably go in. I'm a soldier. I love this shirt, Wissa said. Well, if you took the soldier boots off, you'd probably play football better. That's all I'm going to say. The lad needs, listen, I mean, I watched the video. The video, at the end of the day, it's all speculation, it's all talk. We know that. But he certainly sounds to me, from what he was talking about his days with Thomas Frank, his days in France, his relationship with the gaffer, with the coach, with the manager, whichever way you want to call them, was paramount with his football and the way he believed his football should be. He's a player that, to me, needs confidence. He needs that manager belief. I mean, I didn't realise Thomas Frank used to have him in the office every week and discuss his game, discuss what type of differences that he wanted from him. That's something that Thomas Frank did with him, and he felt as though he was part of the squad for that being done. Eddie Howe may have a totally different approach with him. Maybe he needs to feel wanted at Newcastle at the minute. Like I said, with his injury, him just coming back, maybe there's been a bit of a cheese wedge put into that. It was an interesting talk, though, when he was talking about Willock. He thought Willock was arrogant when he first come to the club. Now he states that he's one of the best players on the training ground. And that worries me. But, I mean, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on that one? With this guy, do you think? I don't know whether you've watched the video that's out there on YouTube.
I've watched it. I mean, let's be honest. Don't talk the game, play the game. Get yourself out on the pitch and actually prove the point. We can all go out and do interviews saying, I could do this, I could do that. Actually do it on the pitch, lad. Get yourself out there. It's just words. It's just words again. Get them actually out there doing something on the pitch. I'll tell you another thing. Just when we're on about videos, another one that annoyed us was Sky Sports were at the training ground doing another promotional video with Hall and Barnes. One of these.
Oh,
where,
the shooting. They were doing the shooting.
You think to yourself, hang on, the best shooting you two could do is train shooting. So you score goals in games. How can you stand there and score people when Hall, to be fair, has been a bit better, but Barnes hasn't hit the backside of a donkey for about 3 months. So
no,
I hate them when it's a bad time of the season and they come out and do that. It's just feels like
it's all
make out you basically.
Mate,
Oh, it is.
You can't let yourself get bogged down by it, though. If you start worrying and start thinking of the negatives, it's just going to produce more negativity. I think you have to get yourself out of that losing mentality, out of that we're down in the dumps mentality, and try to go for it and have a bit of happiness, have a bit of fun with it. That's going to have more chance of producing a result. I think it was Nicky Butt who said when Keegan came and he was asked what was different, he said that it was Keegan had reminded the players to enjoy playing football again. I think getting bogged down in worry is too much, and that's why I'm kind of uplifted by Wissa at the moment. He had that behind closed doors game where he scored a couple of goals. I think he had an all-right cameo against Arsenal. and he's came out and said this about wanting to stay at Newcastle, which is good. He's addressing the problem. What I would say to him, though, is rather than worrying about wanting to feel wanted, look at the back of your shirt. You're wearing the most famous black and white shirt in Europe, possible exceptions to Juventus, and you're wearing the most famous number at that club. If that doesn't inspire you to stamp your foot down and be like, okay, time for me to wear this shirt with a bit of pride, then, you know, a manager coming up and spending a bit of time in an office with you for a few hours, that's probably not going to be enough to keep your spirits high. Like, you need to notice what he's representing, what opportunity he's got. I mean, how many Newcastle number 9 legends are there? Like, you look at how much screen time Shearer gets on Sky Sports. Les Ferdinand. Do you think Les Ferdinand gets on Sky Sports because he went to Tottenham Hotspur for a couple of years? No, he gets it because he was an absolute legend for Newcastle United and the entertainers. This is your chance. If you want to be remembered as a good footballer in the Premier League, that season with Bournemouth isn't going to be the one. Wearing that Newcastle United number 9 shirt in front of St James's Park crowd, busting an absolute gut and bagging in goals. That's how you're going to do it. Look at that, and if you can't be inspired, if you don't get goosebumps thinking about that opportunity that you've got, enough to get you to go out there every single game and give your absolute 100% best, no amount of coaching can save you. I'll get down off my high horse now. Sorry, guys.
I was going to say,
to be a little bit ironic, Les Ferdinand did get dropped as Newcastle's number 9.
Yeah, that is kind of ironic, actually. Shearer came in, took his number. I was like, oh, but that's my number.
You don't need that, do you?
No, and then Douglas came in and decided that selling him and Asprilla was the best thing. It was the best thing, and replacing them with Anderson and Thomason.
To be fair to Kenny Dalglish, he built a Premier League winning squad. Unfortunately, it was the squad that had won the Premier League for Liverpool 10 years previously. That was where we got it wrong. But to be fair, it was still statistically
the thought was there.
Yeah,
exactly.
He had the right idea. It was just the execution that was lacking a little bit.
Maybe Eddie Howe needs...
To be fair, if you go with Dalglish as an example, who loved his old players, who's the other manager that we've had over the last few seasons who's loved his old players?
I think he's talking about Pardew.
No, I'm talking about Howe.
No, I know.
Get away.
That was a joke.
No! He likes to keep his old players as well, so is Howe potentially a Dalglish?
Gosh, I hadn't realised.
Oh, bless
Slap
you,
my thigh.
I mean, listen, like I say,
that was a joke. People in the chat before you come to us as well.
Yeah, I'm going to try and guys, we've got 11 minutes, so I'm going to miss it because I have got one or two, but I'm hoping the lads in the later show come with that one. I was really upset to think that we're probably pricing out some of the fans with the Magpie Lounge going to the tidings now. Premium tickets rising from $3,500 to $10,000, but there is a free bar included. I mean, it is revenue growth versus fan alienation. I've put this as, but like I say, try to keep up with the big six by outpricing the fans. I just think that is probably not the way to go. But let's see if it works. They say it is going to be an interesting one for me. Brighton preview
to watch
then.
A football game shouldn't cost more than a car.
To be fair, though, Harry, if you look at the corporate tickets till the end of this season now, every single, apart from the ones where you have to go off site to have a meal, every single one of them is sold out. So you know they obviously sell them a little bit cheap than they could do. They're going to want to get as much money as they can for them, especially because we've got limited supply.
Supply, exactly.
The money for them.
If the demand's there, Balky, then they have found.
They're doing the right thing. Yeah, they're doing the right thing.
Absolutely. They found the loophole. And like
this is the thing. They are get called out all the time for saying that if for us to compete, if we are going to compete at the top, if that means all of a sudden we've got to pay $2,000 a year for a season ticket, which I'll not be able to afford. If we've got to do that, and it means Newcastle are going to be up there competing, get it done. It's supply and demand. It's a capitalist society we live in. Football is all about money. get used to it, because that's the reality. That I don't mind that. If I can't afford it and somebody else, I would like a Maserati, but I haven't got a Maserati because I can't afford it.
Who does he play
just-
for?
You haven't got a car.
What's her name, woman?
What?
What's her name? It's not Maserati.
It's called nearby taxis at the minute.
Exactly.
I strongly disagree with that, to be fair to you, and I don't think you would be happy if you were completely priced out of it.
Seriously, I can assure you, I would, if we were winning Champions Leagues and competing for the Premier League every year, I would be over the moon, just because I couldn't go there. By the way, that is because nowadays we can watch every single game live. And I've had as much fun watching some games, away games, live with me pals in the bar. Fantastic nights, as I've had in a lot more games, especially this season at the stadium.
Was I saying 10k sounds a bargain? The amount I drink, if it's a free bar. I don't know whether it's a free bar.
What's got 10 grand's worth of Guinness in his fridge.
Yeah, I was going to say he's just got a fridge full of Guinness. It's an interesting one. I've just seen Foxy as again. I don't mind the prices going up, but again, should it go up that exponentially rather than on a gradual basis? Are they just trying to close the gap between us and the cartel too quickly, and that way it is going to outprice a lot of people that have been supporting the club 40 plus years.
But the tickets you're talking about are corporate tickets anyway.
Yeah.
No, but if they're going to put season ticket prices up so much, could they segregate from fans who have been there throughout this whole period, so have been there since pre-takeover, and keep them on the same prices? But any new fans that come in, they come in with a higher price.
Why?
Because to try to keep it fair for you, I'm trying to argue for your side here. Try to keep it fair for you. Try to keep it fair for you guys.
I don't mind.
No, but then you've got the likes of my brother who works in industry. He takes me nephew to the match. I'm sure if the prices went up as much as you're talking there, he wouldn't be able to afford it. So, right. Is that fair?
Yes, it is fair. It's the market.
Two types of people in this world. Those who would sell their soul for success and those who would sell success for their soul.
Look at this.
You can't have it both ways. You can't be complaining because we're not competing with the best and then complain if, in order to get us to that level, the hierarchy are saying, right, well, you're going to have to pay more. You cannot have it both ways.
Yeah, but surely
but you've got to keep it fair for the fans. But for the fans that
have been
throughout the start of this process,
but it's like everything else.
I mean, according to you, 1,000 fans die a year anyway. So 10 years down the line, we'll
trust me. This season, it's been 2,000 watching that bloody boring lot. I mean, Brian, for me. It should be on performances, I'll put that one on Win.
10K sounds a bargain.
Yeah, I'll put that one on.
Sorry, I missed
it should only go up on big performances.
Half the time, lads and lasses. That's wherever he is up there.
And that's what I said, you could be paying 10 grand and watching Championship football. That's what I'm saying, So you've got to be careful where you're dipping your toes in the water. Anyway, let's have 5 minutes then of talking about Brighton. Newcastle 5 straight defeats looming. Poor form. Brighton unbeaten in 5, 6 wins in the last 8. Elite defensive numbers recently. High attacking volume. 939 box touches. They are so high in the attacking load. Possession heavy, Brighton like to go on the tactical, 53%. High XG of 1.51 per game. Strong defensive structure. Well, for Newcastle, obviously Bruno's back. Joe Linton returns from his suspension, and Gordon could possibly return against Brighton. I believe he's been involved in some training today. And so are some others, believe it or not. We've had the young boys. I know somebody in the chat said earlier about, giving the young ones a shout. Alex Murphy, Leo Shah, Mason Miley has been involved. Sean Neve and Rory Finneran have all been involved with the first team. Are Brighton now what we thought we were becoming, if you like? I've often said, are we starting to see the Brighton blueprint at Newcastle?
They've got the winger that we thought we were going to have.
and on the subject of Mr. Minty, he has attempted more take-ons in both the opposition half, 120 take-ons, and the opposition penalty area, 32 take-ons, than any other player in the Premier League this season.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I was devastated. I was more devastated about losing him than Elliot Anderson. I mean, I honestly didn't know Anderson was going to become as good a player as he is. There's still a chance that he's not quite as good as some of us think he is. He's a solid player, but Yakubu Minty's a special player. Like a really special player. Like exactly the type of player that we're screaming out for as well. He's like
a winger who will take somebody on.
Yeah, exactly. If we had him against Arsenal, would have won that game 3-1 easily. Like, I'm not even joking. We did not attack. I've literally said at the start of the show, that what we need is a player who's going to be confident enough to take on a defence. Yakubu Minty is that player. And I'm sure people are going to make fun of the way I say Minty. Go ahead, Wissa. Get your jokes in now.
Minty.
Well, what I is saying, I don't know what this is about. I've got a Guinness shoot, a bit like Farnans has wins. Farnans, there's a name to conjure with.
Yeah,
Farnans, for anybody not from the area, used to be a department store in Newcastle.
Yeah.
Was that what when I come out as your wingman? We need to have baby Guinnesses wherever we're going down there.
Oh, I love a baby Guinness.
Baby Guinness,
but not with Tia Maria, with Black Zambuca.
I like
a nice Black Russian name, Win.
I like a Black Pirate though. You see.
Black Pirate? What's a Black Pirate?
Guinness, rum, spiced rum, 30 mils of spiced rum, and 60 mils of Coke. And trust me, it's like a cheeky Vimto, and it's amazing.
Oh no, a cheeky Vimto is port.
I know what a cheeky Vimto is. I said it's like one. And you,
I like a cheeky Vimto as well.
You genuinely thought cheeky Vimto was the little smiley character they used to put on the cans of Vimto Pop. Is it an actual drink?
I'll take you out for a drink, Tina.
Do you know what the ridiculous thing with
you might not come back to
if you get a beer,
be hungover for another 3 days.
If you want,
I don't know. If they put soda in a bit of cheeky Vimto, it annoys me. It's got to be just the wicked, the port.
No, wicked and port. That's all cheeky Vimto is.
Yeah. I've just realised it is Thursday, which is our last. It is Thursday, isn't it?
It is Thursday.
So this is our last show before the game, and we haven't actually talked about the game. I apologise.
Well,
I don't apologise for that. I think that's brilliant.
No, I think that's the best thing to do.
well, to be fair, before the lads in the late show come on, I had to I did laugh so bad over this one. There was somebody out on X as cheekily put this out there, and this is how bad it is. And if you let me see if I can. Bring it up for you. As you can see, Newcastle Insider, the rumour mill is eating up at St James's Park, with reports suggesting that Newcastle United are prepared to listen to offers for Alexander Stankovic this summer. Is selling Stankovic the right move to fund new signings, or should we be keeping hold of your young talent? I mean, there you go. And there's massive headlines. Reports, Newcastle United set to sell Alexander Stankovic this summer, and he's not even our player. Oh, you've got to love them. You have absolutely got to love them. It is King Kev, Ian, and the rest of the crew coming on for the later.
A quick last one from Ads Care. Thank you, Ads. All this talk of an Eddie statue should be bookie.
Oh, there you go.
Need a hell of a lot of brass.
Yeah. And a hell of a lot of brasso to polish it. I'll tell you now. Anyway, gentlemen, are you well on this Thursday?
Very, very, very good. I mean, I was loving listening into that. I was online a little bit earlier, and I was loving listening to that conversation. I think it's a great thing we haven't spoke about a Brighton game, because I want to keep it all positive. So Bulky's going to love the show coming up.
It's the clappers.
Well, that's it.
Love it.
Ready to
I am very
rumble.
thirsty. Very thirsty. Very good. I am very thirsty. Tina means a double.
I'll get right on to that, Wissa. Thank you for the super chat.
And again, thanks to everybody that's contributed in this early part of the show. Thank you very much. Stay on board and literally keep the lads going with the likes. Subscribe if you haven't already. From me, I'll see you in the morning for the presser, me and Ian. And until then, away the lads, lassies and bairns. Have a good one, boys.
Cheers, guys.
There we go. Are we ready to go straight away? Are we going straight in, lads? Are we good?
I tell you what we'll do, just by way of a change.
NUFC Early Night News with Gary DeJordy Yum Yum, Andrew Bokey, Christina Cage, and Derek the Mighty Wind. Weekdays from 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. USA. NUFC Talk.
There we go. It's the early night one.
Brilliant stuff. Win the producer. Well done, Wayne. Well, I tell you what, I'm glad you're here. I like to think I'm pretty good with technology, but if you weren't here, I'd struggle. You're the greatest producer I've ever had.
You're the first man ever to congratulate me on my technology.
Probably the only producer I will ever have, but you're still the greatest, so thanks a lot. Anyway, welcome to the Late Show. I should say, actually, the future award-winning Late Show. This evening is going to be a very good one, and I'm going to go a little off script. So if I don't host again, everyone listening will know why, because I've got a massive curveball question for all of you panelists, right? I've got a curveball question for all of you panelists and everybody in the chat, because it's a genuine question. I'm not trying to bait anybody here, so wait for that. However, we're also going to go into Johan Wissa speaking out and saying he's a soldier. We'll talk about what he also revealed about Joe Willock behind the scenes. And we'll take a look at the bigger picture with PIF as well tonight. And there'll be loads more, I'm sure. We always go off script when it's us anyway. So anyway, let's start with my curveball. All right. I'm not even going to ask if you're good. I'm going to go straight into it, because I want everybody in the comments to tell us what's going on here. All right. Right. When I was last on, Chris was host, and he asked, we all actually completely slated Shola Amiobi. Not completely slated, but we disagreed with his comment about it being a good season. And then I was driving around, going to work, doing my thing, and I thought, well, actually, can I name 10 better seasons than this season as a Newcastle fan? And I know the league form you could, but I'm talking about everything in general. So is it where did we get to? Round of 16 in the Champions League, a semi-final League Cup, FA Cup, someone's going to have to jog my sixth round. But I was actually thinking, I don't know if I can actually name 10 better seasons. And then I stopped thinking, because I thought I've got to save this for the show. All right. So a little bit of a curveball question. Can we name as fans 10 better seasons than this one?
Well, I've been attending matches now for 64 years at the end of this season. And
I
would struggle. The problem is, promotion seasons are obviously very special.
Yeah, but it's championship. So let's go. I think two Bobby seasons, two Keegan seasons.
Probably, definitely not.
Pardew, but we didn't have Europe.
Fifth, but no Europe, and
so we didn't have a Champions League under Pardew. I loved that season under Pardew, because we were just absolute defensive kings.
You could argue Dalglish second. The second. Third, sixth, second under Keegan, which were all absolutely brilliant.
What about? So do you know our first season? I mean, I'm a little bit too young for this. I know Bokey says he's got years on us, but he looks so young, and I know Ian will definitely remember this. So I'm going to ask you three, because you're more experienced than me as a fan. The first season back in the Premier League under Kevin Keegan. I know we didn't have Europe, but it was magic, because we were well above what anybody expected, and Andy Cole was flying. Now, I'm not asking this question, by the way.
I bet someone I was at work with then, 50 quid that we would finish to qualify for Europe. I think we did, didn't we? Or I said we'd finish in the top
qualified.
6.
Yeah,
I'm loving the comments on this. I'm seeing UEFA.
I said we'd qualify for Europe.
Good shout.
And I put. He said I'd give you 6 to 1 on that. I said okay, I'll put 50 quid on. I couldn't afford 50 quid. Fortunately, they qualified for Europe, and old Wayne, one of the underwriters at Graviton Tilling, he had to pay me 350 quid.
1927.
That season.
Fair play,
Did you actually give them the 50 quid, like?
Yeah, I had to hand the 50 quid over for the season.
Oh, well, that's right.
He was the boss.
50, yeah.
He was the boss.
So
he tried to give us 300 quid, and I told him I'd give him your 50.
No,
you
6
know,
to 1. You've got my 50. I want another 6.
Absolutely.
Very quickly, though, that first season under Keegan, back in the Prem, not the first season, but the first season back in the Prem, would you class that? And I'm not going to have any opinion on this because I wasn't there. Was that better than this season?
Oh, it was better than this.
100%.
Yeah,
no, but we didn't have any Europe then, did we? We weren't in the Champions League, is what I'm trying to say. We weren't in the.
No, but what I'm saying is, was it better? My favourite season is 22-23.
Okay.
Out of them all, 22-23, which was Eddie's second season, going from relegation fodder to Champions League. That's my favourite ever season.
Yeah.
And closely behind that would probably be the first season back in the Prem, as the Entertainers.
Wow. I wish I was around. I wish I was. I'm not going to argue with it. And I'm seeing loads of comments coming here. I'm seeing the Fairs Cup, which obviously the Fairs Cup was the UEFA Cup.
I went to every game,
was the UEFA Cup, and then now the Europa League. So technically Europa League. So definitely give that one. But could you
have under Keegan? I don't think younger fans get it how different the atmosphere in the town was. You know, it was just everything was upbeat. Everything was, and it wasn't just the football. It was because of the way the country was at the time. So it was sort of a period where everything was just sort of at that level, and it just came at the right time for Newcastle United.
I was just too young. I'm good. I was just too young.
I would say where your point on money, on places is right. I can't think of 10 seasons that have been better.
Really?
To counteract that, I can't think of 10 seasons where we've spent the money that we have.
But shut up, man! Money. You keep on going on about money. In real terms, the money we've spent this season is nothing compared to what my competitors are spending.
To be fair, it's very hard to compare because I know Alan Shearer broke a world record, but I mean, again,
for 15 million,
Man United was spending lots of stuff.
But he was the top. He was the top signing at the time. He was the world's most expensive footballer.
Exactly.
What I'm saying is that you
haven't spent 220 million on any footballer.
The reason I can't think of seasons in the past that we've had a better team, if you like, is because we've never spent the money. Do I think the season's acceptable? Do I think the season's acceptable? 100% not.
No, that's not my question's not. We all agreed last time. I think last time I hosted it, we all agreed that. I think we agreed that Eddie hadn't improved this season, and I think we agreed that it wasn't. But I'm just curious because, like I say, I was going about my normal day life, and I was thinking, can I actually? Obviously, I'm not trying to justify. I'm not saying this season's good enough or anything like that. I don't want to get into that because we spoke about that to death, and I think we probably all agree on it quite sensibly. But I was just curious. I was like, oh my God, like I forgot how bad it was to be a Newcastle fan because I can't name 10 seasons better than this one. And then I thought, well, I know what will happen. I saw who I was on with tonight, and I thought you guys have all supported Newcastle a little bit longer than me. So you guys will definitely be able to remember. I think I put two Bobby seasons under is better. I remember, I don't know if I put Pardew's up there because as much as I loved the league form, we were pretty dire in cups and football wasn't great. I know people mentioned Rafa and stuff, but again, the football was poor. So Borky probably can't, which is, for me, I'm surprised because I'm expecting you to say, yeah, of course, we had this one. Ian, can you think of 10 better?
To be fair with this question, it's a position we're in now, though. Ian's gone. We're in a completely different position to where we've been for the other season. So
yeah, honestly,
it's a really difficult question because we are winning.
We're not, man.
I'm not.
We are. We've spent £700 million. Who? let's face it, who 10 years ago under Bruce and Ashley, well, not 10 years, 7 or 8 years ago, under Bruce and Ashley could see us being in this position? So,
Boogie, you just cannot accept the concept that 50 million now is the equivalent to the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 millions that we were spending under Keegan and football inflation is completely different than normal inflation.
But you're not getting the point I'm making. I'm not saying it, but I'm not talking about the Keegan and Robson years.
We spent money in those days.
What I'm saying is that somebody's came in and invested in this club. You know, we should be better this season. But I should be sitting here saying this is one of the best.
I agree with. I honestly, I don't know if I'm.
God, we'll go to Ian.
I'm just like I say. I'm not doing it to. I'm not doing it to kind of big up. This season hasn't been good. We all agree, but I'm just saying in terms of like my lifetime, I was thinking. It just put it into perspective me for a little bit because I was born in 1993, and I was like, you know what, like I can't. Sorry, Boogie. And I was a little bit like, I can't think of 10 better. And I'm complaining. I'm at work with my mates, and I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm like, oh, this season's been, and I'm thinking, God. I love how much expectations have changed because I can't actually name 10 better seasons than this one. And I thought the lads I'm on with tonight will definitely be able to do this. And I'm still watching all the comments come in, which is brilliant to see. Get the super chats in so we can get them read out and kind of debate them. Ian, what about your... Can you think of... Actually, there's a super chat here before we go to Ian.
What was I saying? Woody, he's comparing you to Woody Harrelson.
I'll take it. He's a handsome man, I think, Woody Harrelson.
Curveballs is not your main problem, is it?
It's not, but I had this thought and I thought I'm going to share it with the people I like to speak to. Ian, 10 better seasons, can you name?
What's your question?
Have we had
10 better seasons, 10 more enjoyable seasons?
This current season, which has been a disaster.
That's a different question.
Right. I mean, if you were working out on better seasons, we've got as far as we've ever got in the Champions League, and that's the top competition. So this actually is the best season we've had. That's one argument. For me, it's not. This is the most disappointing season that Howe's been in charge. So that's 4 seasons before that. They're all better, in my view. I include him coming in and turning it around in January. And that massive run where we went on a run, that was wonderful by the end. Bruno's last-minute header against Leicester, all of those moments, fantastic. Yeah. But for me, every time Keegan had us in the Premier League, you knew you were going to go and see a good game because he genuinely, if the opposition were going to score 3, he wanted to score 4.
Social media? I wish we could go back in time and have podcasts when we blew the league. I wasn't around. You don't know if we bottled it or not. But when we didn't win the league that time, imagine if podcasts existed when in 96 when we didn't win the league and Man United.
That would have been squads and squads of players.
I will love it.
I know he's reached his limit.
I would love to have seen a podcast back then. That would have been mental to see the reaction and kind of how people.
That was so unlucky. I mean, and we get called bottlers and everything for that, don't we?
Yeah.
Did we bottle it?
Man U got absolutely stuffed at St James's Park, and then Cantona scored a goal. But we were all over them there.
I remember that. I've seen Schmeichel. Schmeichel made ridiculous.
Schmeichel was incredible. He was incredible in that game. We then went to Blackburn and took the lead with 10 minutes to go, and then some bloody unknown Geordie you never heard of before or since came on and scored twice in the last 10 minutes. It was 2-1. So
you went to school with him, didn't you?
That was really
I didn't go to school with him. I just remember his name because I was so. I was going to swear.
That would have
so fuming with them.
A lot of emotion. It's still there.
Those 2 results change, and we win it because I think we finished 5 points behind them.
What the one result does it? The St James's Park result does it? We should have been 5-0 at half time.
It's how passionate
gets the winner against the run of play.
It's how passionate.
That's a 6-point swing. They won the league by 4 points.
It still hurts, so Bogey. It still hurts.
It does. It really hurts, and. It was the best football I've seen in my life. It was the best time I've had in my life glorious. In regards to being a football fan. You know,
glorious
you used to love going to games. You used to love being in the area. You used to.
I'll tell you what was new.
I was young.
I was in London for 2 of those seasons. I couldn't come to St James's Park, but I went to a lot of the away games. Swindon, Southampton, Villa, all the London ones, and we kept bloody winning away from home. That's something I had no experience of, and I haven't watched them for 30 years up till then, 25 years up till then. So there would be the 3 Keegan ones. There's the 4 previous ones with Eddie Howe in charge. And definitely when Bobby Robson was there, he almost rekindled that Keegan spirit in having an attacking team. So, and there were some nice Champions League matches there. Qualifying out of our group when we lost the first 3 games, that was so exciting.
That was the first football team I fell in love with. Was that Robson team with Bellamy, Dyer, Shearer. Jen was part of it. Speed, Woodgate. Woodgate wasn't in my team actually. It was O'Brien. Still kicking around. Yeah, Lauren Robert loved his left foot. Nobby Solano was part of our team. Shea Given, Steve Harper, Young Shaw there when he got a goal at the New Camp. Like that was the first team I fell in love with. Which Borky again, I can see him thinking, God, I hate how young Kev is.
So this season,
let's go with super chat because it's an amazing super chat.
Yeah,
Dev, I'm still very distracted by your egg-shaped ball behind you. What's up with that? Is it a NFL or is it a rugby?
There's a slight story behind it. I got that for winning. I've actually got like a trophy. I won this award down at where was it at now? Twickenham. Homer Rugby, I think. I'm not a big rugby person, but it's a signed rugby ball for an award I won down in Twickenham a while ago. Now, I do the podcasts from my mum's house, or the YouTube late shows from my mum's house, because I've got 2 young children now, and I would wake them up because I get very, very, very passionate and excited. So I come down to my mum's, only 5 minutes away, and she keeps all of my kind of awards, memorabilia, signed stuff for some football trophies over there, and my first guitar is still over there as well. So this room was just like, it's now my son's room when he comes to his grandparents, but it's got all my stuff in. So that's why it's there.
Can I just say, after 3 months, I'm still very distracted by the egg-shaped head that Wynn's got on his shoulders.
Oh, I thought you were going to go egg-shaped head for me there. Fair play.
Are you trying to say I remind you of Stewie?
You do, actually. That's not bad.
Start that. I'll be Peter Griffin in a second. Just a quick one, Kev. You got a bad voice there tonight.
Have I got a bad voice?
Have you got your bad throat?
I have got a little bit of a dodgy throat. Yeah, why?
I thought I could see a little horse behind you. Oh, that was bad.
Well, I've actually got a bad throat as well. Like, I've took loads of stuff. I've got a warm drink behind us, and I'm like, oh no, is it coming off bad? That was great. Well done.
I'm ashamed.
What Borky should be doing, Borky should just be reeling you in there, because that was a little bread cast on the water. Up pops Kev, straight on, strike, bring him in.
Yeah. Got us.
Still,
so I think
Sean.
this season, to finish it off, by the way, this season for me would be my 10th favourite one, because there have been
this is in your top 10.
I loved beating Man United with 10 men. I loved sitting watching that.
I loved the Leeds game.
Wow.
Yeah.
I loved the City game, and I have enjoyed our march through to the round of 16 in the Champions League. I think we played really well away at PSG. Great games as well, where we've lost against Barcelona, Liverpool, Arsenal. But so there's been some great moments this year.
Still been a disappointing season. I'm not like
more great moments than John Carver was able to conjure up, or Steve McLaren. But yeah, very disappointing in comparison to the first 4 years that Eddie was in charge.
But the fact that you're saying after 50 odd years, it's still in this season is still in the top 10. I'm going to 60 and it's still in the top 10.
I might have put the championship win in when we were 7 points behind.
Yeah, well, I said if you're going to include promotions,
it can't be. I mean, I loved. It was strange because I weirdly enjoyed and I didn't enjoy getting relegated, obviously, but my first season in the championship was strange for me because I was very lucky. I mean, some of you guys were luckier to grow up under the Keegan era, but I was growing up under Robson in Champions League and stuff. So the fact we were in the championship was mental. But man, I weirdly enjoyed it because we just got 100 and odd points and battered
everyone. I tell you what, Kev, you really appreciate getting relegated and bouncing straight back in a season if you've watch Newcastle get relegated 2 or 3 times and then take 10 or 12 years to come back.
Yeah. And that promotion season under Keegan, when we won weirdly, we're on for a record. We won the first 11 straight.
Yeah.
And then lost the 12th against Grimsby at home.
It was back and goal, though.
It's strange what you remember from. It's strange what you remember from promotion seasons as well, though, isn't it? Because Plymouth, I love Plymouth now, because when we actually went up when we were down there, and they had the music, all the Newcastle United music coming out of their sound system.
Wow!
Not under Rafa, under
Houghton.
The one before under Houghton.
Oh right, I thought you were on about Keegan. I was going to say it was Grimsby when we won.
No, it was Plymouth that we actually got as I say, promoted at, and they put all the Newcastle songs on, which I thought was just a great bit of class.
You know what I'm going to do? Because in the comments, we're all talking about that rugby ball behind me. I'm going to start putting different bits of memorabilia behind us every time I'm on, just to see what people start commenting now, and I can share stuff. And we've got one more super chat, and then we're going to move on to some current news, because I enjoyed that. And again, thanks, lads, because I wasn't doing anything there to try and justify this season. I genuinely thought you would have been able to get it out of the top 10. So it's good to know that I didn't spend hours thinking about it driving around the country. And I was like, why can't I name 10 better seasons? So thanks for that. Anyway.
Well, except the only thing that I would qualify that is what Ian said before. Are you talking about 10 better seasons or 10 more enjoyable seasons?
Oh, I'm just talking about better. Because definitely 10 more enjoyable.
This is in my probably top 3 least enjoyable seasons.
Wow. Up there with relegations.
Oh, this season has been... Oh, God, man. I
don't know about that. Like, I mean, I remember. I thought
you've got to remember, Kev, he's met me this season, so that's his big problem.
No. Absolutely nothing to do with you, Bookie. I'm talking about the football and, even when we've won, sometimes.
I remember Rafa putting 10 men behind the ball against Burton at home. Yeah, we just won 1-0. That was. We went up, but Christ almighty, that was boring. I'm sure we've missed a super chat. There it is.
Bloody Nora, Ian, you've had a personality transplant.
How? I'm always hilariously funny and having a go at Win.
It could be because we can hear you properly.
Oh, reason. Wow. It is a crisp sound from Ian tonight.
Yeah.
I've reset twice because I couldn't hear a bloody word when I first joined up. I don't know if you know, I wasn't there for the first 10 minutes.
Than it normally is.
Good.
Right.
I think it's something worth saying.
Anyway, let's go. So, big one. Wissa, he's been on a podcast. I haven't watched the whole thing yet. I'm not going to lie. Hopefully people in the comments have them as other things. But the main news coming out of it is he's saying, I am a soldier. And I guess I'll go through some of the kind of statements from it as well in a second, but it's a very honest interview. He's talking about coming back too early from injury, that he rushed back. He just wanted to get on the train. He was desperate to play. He's saying that he loves being here. He just wants to wear a shirt and represent the team. So it's kind of interesting, really, because the narrative around Wissa, even a day ago, 2 days ago, was we're looking to kind of cut our losses, move on, and just go with 15 million, I think I saw, and I'm thinking, wow, paid 55. Now, them rumours obviously might not be true, and it might not be the way forward, but I'm very curious to see if this is kind of going to change anything in terms of, is he going to come good? Do we respect the honesty, or do we kind of worry that he's just allowed to come back too early? Did he, again, I don't know the full context, but did he just lie and say he's ready to come back? It's very interesting. I know he talked about going away with the international team as well, and he said he was very unlucky to get an injury. But for me, overall, still, I mean, even if he's been off, it's just he's off the ball runs. I've mentioned that on this channel loads, absolutely frustrate the life out of us. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on this. Is he going to come good? Should we still try and sell him? Does this mean we're actually genuinely not going to try and sell him? It would be a weird statement to make if there's been a conversation behind the scenes about, look, we could potentially be cutting our costs here, get your agent to be ready for some offers. I I know Wynn still thinks he can come good, so I'm kind of going to come to Boki first in terms of what he thinks of him coming out and saying, I'm a soldier, I'm going to come back, I'm going to fight, I'm going to be a success, I want to wear a shirt, I love the tune pretty much. And then kind of what do you really think it means, Boki? What's going on?
Where does any soldier need to be if there's a war?
Front line.
Yep. Where does any player need to be if they want to score goals? On the
in
pitch?
the 6-yard box. Or in between the goalposts.
Yep, or on the pitch. You know, how the hell can he improve himself if he's not on the pitch? I think that's the big issue now is we need a few of the players to have some time on actually playing football. You know, we can come out and do as many interviews as we want. Eddie needs to give them match play.
If he's fully fit, I agree, but I think it explains a lot. He's been on the bench loads this season, not even come off. So I'm assuming. But again, do you put a player on the bench who is injured? Did anybody know? I mean, it's crazy, but we're asking these questions, isn't it? In terms of like, was he actually injured and on the bench, or was he fit? And if he was fit, why is this coming out? It just seems. I don't know. I think it's badly managed by the players. I wouldn't be doing a podcast if I was in Wissa's position. Personally, he doesn't need the money.
Badly managed by the manager as well. If he's not fit, he shouldn't have been on the bench. He shouldn't have been.
The manager,
what
he's told from a fitness staff, doesn't he?
Well, he can. But if he's sitting there knowing he's not going to bring, he's the only one that can bring Wissa on. Mm-hmm. So if he's sitting there knowing he's not going to bring Wissa on because he's not fit, or he doesn't think he's fit, or the stats don't show he's fit. And don't put him on the bench. Put a youngster on that can actually come on and do something.
Yeah, but as Eddie said in a presser once before, the all the metrics had said that it might even have been Bruno. I think he was fit enough that we would get 30 minutes out of him or whatever, and that's happened a few times when players you know coming, especially players coming back from injury. You're not going to start them and give them a full 90 minutes, but you'll bring them on to get some minutes in their legs. And then it's down to whether what's happening in the game dictates that you can do that or can't do that or want to do that. That's what different. But Brian Penny's saying, the Chronic, the Evening Chronic pointed it out. Wissa knee injury returned too soon, according to the Chronic. Does it mean that physios or players or both screwed up? Was it Wissa saying I am and when he wasn't, and etc.
The thing is, he's never been injured before. He's never been injured
before,
so
exactly.
he doesn't actually know when he's ready. He's thinking he's ready, but he's not ready. How about this for a solution then? Wissa comes, does a pre-season with us. We'll put him out on loan for 3 months, or we'll put him out on loan for a year with a recall clause at Christmas. Wherever he is, he bangs 18 goals in. We'll have him back.
No, thank
January.
He's 29 now. We can't afford to do that.
Yeah, well, look, if he's 29 and he's back fit and scoring again, if he's Callum Wilson, he's got another 2 or 3 years where he'll keep scoring.
That may be his last
right?
doing it.
Well, in that case, we've managed to use up part of his 55 million, and we've got a less of a loss to take next year.
Well, that's why.
But he's out of the way, and he frees it up for another striker to come in.
That's why he wouldn't be sold, because we cannot afford to take him.
We can't afford to sell him and take a 40 million loss. We just can't afford to do that.
Do you think part of the thing we could have done was let him actually go to AFCON? So if he'd went there and actually trained with that would have been warm weather anyway, he would have potentially scored goals. Would that have been probably? I mean, I know it's hindsight and it can't happen now, but would that probably be the best thing for the lad himself?
Potential. I know he wasn't picked because, again, I know there's rumours out there about how we held him back, so to speak.
Yeah, that's what he was resentful of, because we held him back and didn't play him. But if he's not fit, you cannot play him, can you? When he's been on, he hasn't looked fit. And the shame of it is that the fact that he didn't score that goal from the Martyrs' ball against Arsenal is entirely down to the fact that he's only played about 15 minutes in the last 2 months.
I think would
AFCON has been more like a pre-season for him, though. It's not high level football. Could that have been his pre-season? Then he comes back to us absolutely firing on all cylinders and full of confidence.
If it could have gone, but I think
it's impossible to say.
To be fair, I agree what you're saying, but I think he's saying that he came back too early, and I think he came back just after AFCON started, hadn't he? So I don't know. It's such a difficult thing, and I mean, we're not on the inside of a club, unfortunately, so we don't know if he was kind of look. We'll hold you off a bit so you don't get picked, and then we get to play you. We paid 55 million. We have absolutely no idea what happened, but if that was an option, I would probably say, in hindsight, absolutely it would have been, because it hasn't really worked with whatever's happened so far. But the big thing for me with Wissa, fully fit or not, it's his movement off the ball for a striker. You've got to have, if you don't have a natural instinct of where the ball's going to be, or again, like I'm just thinking of silly things when you play as a striker, and if a winger's stretching to make the ball, it's very unlikely he's going to lift it that much. So you obviously go near post. Wissa to me just goes back post every time, and there's two defenders in front of him. And I'm like, come on, like you've got to either hang off. Sometimes staying still is the best thing to do in the penalty box because everyone's moving and panicking, and it keeps you nice and calm and balanced to kind of finish. But for me, he makes the same movement every time, and it's so frustrating. And even if you are half fit or not fully fit, your off the ball movement, your intelligence, your brain, your know-how of where to be in that box as a forward player still doesn't change. Granted, you might not get there as quick if you don't fully trust your knee or you don't fully trust whatever the issue is. But the biggest issue for me is just off the ball, he doesn't look like a striker, which I'm gutted to say because I was buzzing when we signed him. And his record was amazing before us, but that's the biggest issue I've got. For me, the issue with him's got nothing to do with fitness. It's just where it is. Why do you think he's going to come good? Why are you in the camp of Wissa is going to be a success? I hope you're right, by the way.
Because he still gets into those positions. Yes, he missed a sitter on Saturday, and he missed a sitter. I can't remember the game. I was trying to think, and I couldn't be bothered to look it up, to be honest. When he missed the header on the far post, and then when he missed the side footer in on the near post.
He ran near post. I'm impressed.
Yeah. He missed the near post tap, and he actually collided with the goal post, didn't he? And then that was instrumental in his second injury after he came back, got a bit played. Which you got the exclusive on here, by the way, because I did the stadium tour the day before, and there was that shirt hanging in the which I got severely reprimanded for because they did tell us when we did the tour we're not normally allowed to take players into the home dressing room on the day before a Champions League game, but we've got special permission because I was in with a group of foreign people, and so I gave the exclusive that night. It was because they had the shirts the other way around, the front of the shirt. So I had a quick look under this one with no name on, and there was Wissa.
So when you pay 30 quid for a stadium tour and you're not allowed to go in the dressing room, you know who to blame now.
Fault, yep.
And his pink boots under the thing. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, I just think he's a good footballer, and I saw again in the as I've mentioned a few times, the Sunderland game at home. I saw him busting a gut to get. But this is not to do with his attacking prowess, but I saw him busting a gut to get back and chase them down in his own half, which everybody seemed to miss.
Once, to be fair, I'm sure we had. Was it like, I'm sure there was a chance, I've tried to forget the Sunderland game completely for obvious reasons, but I'm sure it was like a ball over the top, and I was like, go on, Wissa, get there, like, you should be giving everything a Derby to get there, and the keeper just came out and collected it, and I was a bit like, what's going on there? So I was a bit confused.
He's been very, very disappointing, that's for sure. However,
absolutely,
I saw enough on that game against Arsenal to think that if you can play Voltemara as a 10 and him as a 9, I would play the two of them in the next 4 games.
Sure,
and if it's rubbish, then you get rid. But if they're not, then you've got a little bit of a basis to start redesigning how we're playing next year, I would say. Because let's face it, we can't write both those guys off and only get a fraction of 122 million quid back after a year. That's just ridiculous. Can't make losses on our players. We've got to make profits on our trades. It's no good making a 50 million loss between the pair of them and thinking that we can then afford to go out and buy top-class replacements, because we won't. We'll just bust all over money.
We knew that we'd overpaid for Wissa. That was just
we were desperate.
That was force of circumstance, and that's why we overpaid for it. Even if we consider, even if some people in the hierarchy, whatever, consider Voldemort is a flop, not good enough for the Prem for us, and so we'll not lose money on Voldemort. There's plenty clubs will pay what we paid for Voldemort. We'll not lose money on him. We'll definitely lose money on Wissa, except we won't, because as I say, we just won't sell him.
Well, it was interesting as well. There was talk about Voldemort going before the World Cup, and that would just be an absolute crazy decision, bearing in mind he could go to the World Cup and have an absolute worldie, score 4 or 5 goals. And, I mean, even if you want to get rid of him, then you actually can, definitely make sure you don't make a loss, because he scored 5 World Cup goals. I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen, and it's impossible to predict, but certainly interesting with what could potentially happen there. So, yeah, Wissa.
Just before we go there, Connor's just saying there's breaking news from Keith Downey, and I've just read it up. Seemingly, the coming out today's meeting is that PIF are still fully behind Newcastle United, no matter what's happened with the golfing court tournament, the lift thing, and still fully behind the Newcastle United project.
Yeah, I had that on a later segment, but we'll go to it and we'll come back to Wissa, because Wissa had a comment on Willock. But PIF have pulled out of Live Golf, or we're going to fund it till the end of this season. And then we are not going to fund it anymore. This created a couple of questions online about, are PIF committed? Are we now all about sustainability and money, and is Newcastle a profit? I mean, I was never particularly worried because of the whole, was it a 44% increase in revenue? And you think, well, what businessman would sell that? Did it worry any of you guys in terms of PIF? I mean, I know we've stepped away from a club in the Saudi League. We've pulled out of one club. We're now pulling out of Live Golf. We've seen this before, very briefly in football, probably not to the level of what Saudis have done in sport in terms of boxing and F1 and all that stuff. But China, if you remember, were paying crazy wages for players. Oscar went there, Hulk went there, lots of players ended up going to China. And then the money was pulled. The plug literally got pulled, and that was the end of the Chinese kind of football and dynasty effort. Do we think something similar could happen with kind of a Saudis? I know it is a different question, because we've got hands in everything, hands in multiple sports. I mean, boxing, literally almost every big fight now is in Saudi Arabia. Massive backing in terms of the F1. I know it's completely different, but part of my childhood was WWE. They've got massive commercial revenue around TKO Group, who also own the UFC. So are we worried about Saudis pulling out? I mean, I've never took this seriously when I've heard it, so it's really interesting to kind of get your thoughts on it. I mean, Win, do you worry that the Saudis could pull out? I mean, the other thing I saw, actually, before I come to you, is I'll chuck in there, I saw another rumour, and I must say it's a rumour, and it's probably a whole load of rubbish, but Amanda Staveley was getting a £2 billion American consortium to come back and buy Newcastle. And I think that's just somebody at home who really misses Amanda Staveley, making stuff up, posting it online and hoping it gets enough traction, which it did, because it got to my news feed. How do you feel in terms of the Saudis? I mean, personally, I can't see them pulling out.
I was over the moon when I saw the Amanda rumour.
No, Win, man. Never going to happen.
Well, I think it's highly unlikely to happen, except that PIF have got one objective in life, and that's to make money.
And we are with Newcastle, 44% increase from last season.
And if they were to sell Newcastle for the alleged $2 billion that Amanda's consortium was putting together, that constitutes almost doubling their money. If you take out the fact that the allegedly spent $1 billion in compensation to be in sports, which was the stumbling block in the first place for them buying Newcastle. Now then, the question then remains, do they think that a successful Newcastle United can give them the sort of income that they were expecting it was going to do when they thought they could come in and spend what they wanted to get us to that elite level. And since then, they've had hurdle after hurdle after hurdle placed in front of them to prevent them doing that. I tell you what, if I was at PIF, I would have done a few things slightly different, because I would have said, right, you want to take us on, we'll take you on. And I would have got all the lawyers in the world the way City have done and say, let's see you win one of these cases. But, they're not going to say they've lost faith, because immediately that devalues the project, and they're going to lose money. But all I would say, and I think Borky will probably agree with us here, is it's all the talk's great. No, we're still fully behind Newcastle United. Let's see a spade in the ground somewhere. Let's see some concrete evidence of that. Yes, they can't spend money on the field of play the way they were expecting to be able to do, but that doesn't stop them building the stadium, getting the training ground.
Not as training ground more so. I think the stadium is lots of complex. We spoke about it before, haven't we? And I love, to be fair. Actually, I think I agreed with you and Borky last time about maybe, not in a complete dictatorship, holding the city hostage, but pretty much saying, look, we'll be out of here. You better allow this to happen, so to speak. And I remember saying to Borky, actually, it was lovely buildings, and we can't just knock them down. But I'm not gonna get that bite again.
Well, I know you wanted to pull them down with the people in them. That's what you said.
That's what you said. That was a good conversation. I missed that. It was a good episode. That. But yeah, I think. I don't know. It's a really discontent towards. I've said before on here, I've got discontent in terms of how the structure of the club hasn't been settled, and we are miles behind when you look at the structure of Man City, Arsenal, and the people above the manager and the transfer team and all that. That frustrates us. But I think PIF aren't football people. That I think money-wise, they've invested pretty well. They give money to get out of a relegation scrap. They tried to give money to get us to kind of consolidate Champions League, which obviously wasn't spent. Well, could have been spent right, but this season just hasn't worked. I sensed a little bit of unhappiness towards the owners there winning. I'm a bit shocked, if I'm honest. I don't know if I'm the only one. I'm interested now to get the other thoughts of you guys.
I think with PIF, what you've got to remember is what you've got to remember is we've got the Rubens brothers there as well, who are owners. So they haven't got an insignificant amount invested in the club, and they're known in the Newcastle area. So when you're talking about buying land, getting things done, I think they would be the ones that you would be looking at potentially to be the forefront on that one.
Can't hear you with.
That's a good thing. Anyway, I think they would be the ones that you would hope to be at the forefront on that one. And they haven't been yet. You haven't. As Win says, I completely agree with him. We need spades in grounds, and we need to stop this every time we lose a bloody game, putting a positive story out there just to try to hide the fact that we've lost the game. We need actual things to happen, not just rumours and, Craig Hope doing his happy clapping thing.
Fair. I was quite happy about the badge, because the badge was like, there's going to be a new badge. And then it was like, the reaction to that wasn't good. So we're going to backtrack on that and take our time, which I quite liked, with the kind of half-list. Ian, thoughts on?
Yeah.
I'm
no.
pretty happy.
I think they're looking to make a profit for sure. I think a big part of that would be to build a new stadium, which is a one-off cost, which boosts income every single week. You don't have to run very many seasons.
I want a new stadium. I want to go with Borky's idea and just take them buildings.
Well, whichever way they're doing it, they need to change something, don't they, to get their income up. If they pull out now, they haven't really started their project, the full project. I think they've got their infrastructure in place. This is the first full year they've done, and we've got new sponsorship deals coming. It's all super encouraging, isn't it? Which is why the status quo will be maintained for the summer. Eddie will spend all of the cash to boost us up, and then he better get a good start to the new season. Otherwise, that might be when the change comes.
And Wissa, thank you for your £5 super chat. Ian, we need a front man, a drummer, and a lead guitarist. Never mind a bassist. Italy for the World
I think
Cup.
I would be Animal on the drums if we're going with the Muppets on this show.
I can play guitar. That's all I can do.
I've been a front man, but I'm far more regularly a drummer, a proper drummer. There you go.
Hey, hang on, we've got 2 drummers, a guitarist. Win, can you sing?
I used to was.
That'll do.
The point I was going to make, though, Kev.
You were going to go with a question.
Chat, what would we be called as a band if it was us four? What would be our name?
Oh, put that in the comments. Get that in the comments. People who are in the comments, get band names in for us four. It's going to be brutal, and I'm going to love it. Preferably super chat them so we don't miss any.
I think we'd be the 4 seasons, wouldn't we? You'd be spring, Bogey would be summer, I'd be autumn, and Mighty Win would be winter when everything's.
I think there'll be more chance me being winter, to be
I'm
honest.
going to say Bogey's winter. I'm summer.
I was going on age. Age.
Right.
The point I wanted to make with PIF, by the way.
Brutal.
That was brutal, that Ian.
I know. I've had this personality transplant.
70's the new 30,
taken quick.
Can we do bands that we can actually read out? Those the only thing to the chat.
The 4 up there. My point on PIF is if they do want to pull out, this is where PSR really helps us, isn't it? Because if they were spending like they could spend, we wouldn't find anybody else to take us over who could match that. But because of PSR, you can get an American consortium to come in and be able to spend at the same level. So, yeah, I think I don't think PIF have got through to the end of the cycle before they can make a decision yet. I think they've got a few years to go. But if they did pull out, I think we're affordable for other people to come and take on and maintain the growth that we're doing.
Yeah. Trolls, thank you for your 50 Norwegian krona, son. It's okay to want Howe in, but don't blame the owners for Howe's shortcomings.
I want Howe in, and I don't blame the owners.
There you go. And
what
Jesus. Was I saying? The
Great
foreskins.
4 skins, nice one.
Was. To be fair, we set them up for this, so we're kind of.
We did.
Bogey and the Happy Clappers from Phil's a particular favourite as well.
That's good. And accurate, kind of accurate anyway. Yeah, I'll take that. Right, so good PIF. I think we're kind of all on the same wavelength fish, but want to see some action. Back to Wissa, he also made some comments in the same interview about a teammate. The teammate in question, can't speak today, was Joe Willock. He's pretty much saying that he thought Joe Willock was arrogant, which I don't know why he would even come out and say that if he thought it now he's a teammate, and that he was wrong about him, misjudged him, and he's one of the best trainers, and he surprised him the most. Now, I don't know if saying that somebody who surprises you most in training is like that award you give to the player who is most improved. It's a bit like, well, you're not great, but you're not as bad as what you normally are. So, have the most improved award. So I'm not sure how I feel on these comments because I'm a little bit like, I don't see the need to say it again. I'm probably going to have to go back and watch this podcast and watch this interview with him and get some context. But it's just really strange stuff coming out from this kind of interview. Like, he's the one who surprised me the most. Like, I just think, I don't know. I'm really not sure about
this podcast would have been vetted before it came out to the press, and that's what I don't get is why they've allowed things like this to come out. Sort of players calling other players out. Probably Willock has got on better.
He's not, is he? What he's saying is,
but I'm saying probably Willock getting on better. Well, Wissa now is because they've sat on the bench so long together. So that's probably why they're getting along better. But I think
what he's saying is before he came here, his
I think it was after he arrived.
His take, he's saying before he got to Newcastle, he was under the assumption that Willock was whatever he said he was, big-headed or whatever.
So arrogant.
So before he got here, he thought Willock was an arrogant.
Why would you even say
that? But since he's arrived, he's realised he's anything but, and he's a great trainer and goes on the play. I don't think that's anything wrong with that.
I'm not big on that. I just think like if there's it's just a weird thing to come out and say. I've
thing
got
is,
a
you're
quote
right,
here.
Kev.
It says, so when I was
keep
training
it
for
to
everyone, it was
yourself,
just like
don't you?
chill. But the one who I trained with a lot who surprised me the most was Joe Willock. Even when he was not playing, I think in training he was always the best. Always, he was the best. I spoke with him. He knows what I think about him. But as I said to him from the outside, he looks so arrogant and so lazy, and he knows why I am saying this. And I told him to see him working that hard and to be so good in training. I said to him, sorry, because you can have an image of someone if you don't know him. But when I joined, I have been training with him, and I said to him, I have an image about you, but it is wrong. It is really wrong, and I am saying sorry to him. For me, do that privately, but coming out with arrogant and lazy, it's like us saying like it's like Shaw coming out when we signed Gordon and saying, well, before we signed you, we thought you were right one of them, so welcome to the club. And say, I don't see the point in this. I don't know. It's unlike me to actually be like negative about anything, but I don't understand what good will come of this from Wissa. Ian, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's just really weird.
Yeah.
It's not really something that. I mean, you can have those private thoughts. You can express them to let Willock know you think he's
Privately,
a good guy. But I wouldn't come out and just announce it to the general public. Otherwise, you get all sorts of people pulling it around in public again. So it's repeated over and over. And the only thing we'll remember by this time next week is, oh yeah, Wissa in that podcast said he thought Willock was arrogant
and lazy.
It's just asking for trouble, I think, getting into that sort of detail.
Yeah, very strange. Bogey, what's your thoughts on this? Because I just find it mental that he's not performing on the pitch. I get his move hasn't went well, and I get that the injuries, he tried to come back early. I appreciate that he's being honest with that, but this is just strange, isn't it?
Why mention a teammate in an interview? Why
Exactly.
mention them at all? Why? I can get it if he came in and says he could have put it in a different context. He could have came in and said, I know there's been outside rumours about obviously Willock, but when I've been in training with him, he's been really good. He shows the passion. He shows what we need is a team. But he deliberately put the negative point on it first. And as I say, why the hell did the club allow that to go out? Why did they let that go?
The club mustn't have known about it. We couldn't have. Surely.
Well, but surely, the club, every player at the club must have to go through pressers to do things like that. Surely, if there's no chance, the club are just going to let players do press conferences without knowing about them.
So. Yeah, good point. So, good point.
But as I say, it was a strange time to put that on, because if you spin it the other way, it could be looked at as a positive thing, but it wasn't because of the negative before he started. If you're going to start out cold and giving somebody some positive feedback, start off on the positive and keep it going. Don't start off on the complete negative.
I'm with Tony T. Yeah, Tony T's in. There we go. Heaven forbid people be flawed and say he has a false preconception, which is what he did. This is nothing exactly. Mountains and molehills.
I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just think when you're not performing on the pitch and you're doing these podcasts and you are saying that you had a perception of a teammate who was lazy and arrogant, Willock probably won't take offence and probably will see the positive in it. But I mean, when things aren't going well at a club, and there's an ever so slight chance it gets taken the wrong way and it causes friction. I don't know why you would make a comment like that. If we were sat third in the table, right, and Willock was having a belter season, getting loads of minutes, loads of assists, a bit like that time we finished fourth, and he was one of the best assists I've seen for Isaac against Spurs, and he was having that type of season, I get it, then come out and say it, but I think it's too risky. This modern day and age of social media and stuff like that, I think, Christ, don't even risk it, because if that gets in the hands of the wrong people or the wrong type of fans or the wrong types of media, then it could cause more problems for a manager who you're supposedly trying to fight for and keeping a job and perform well for. The only good thing I can see coming of it is against Brighton is Willock plays and gets an assist for Wissa, and it's on the back page, and it's amazing, and it's a laugh and a joke made out of it. But you know what people will be doing now? They'll be watching now, and if Willock doesn't pass to Wissa a couple of times, not on purpose, I'm not saying this will happen, but you know where that story will then go. And I'm not normally like this way. Normally I'm quite calm. I'm all about the positives, but I just think if you're not doing it on the pitch, you should be as quiet as possible. Wait until you perform and then start giving things out.
He hasn't said anything
Lazy
negative.
and arrogant.
But
Lazy.
No.
I
He
thought
said that was his perception.
Doesn't matter. That's negative. I thought you were lazy and arrogant. That for me is not a good.
And I was wrong.
Yeah, that's fine. Come to me in person and say, no. Come to me in person and say, you know what, Kev? Before I started training with you, you know, when I was watching from playing against you for Brentford or whatever, I thought you were lazy and arrogant. But you know what, mate? You're a great trainer. You know, I'm glad we're here. We're having a good time. Great. Keep that private. Coming out with words like lazy and arrogant about a teammate in public when you're not performing on the pitch and it hasn't been a good season is, it's just strange. I don't understand it personally.
Take it down a level. Just take it down to this channel level. If I come out and I go, when you talk absolute rubbish, I know you like Newcastle, but you know you talk absolute rubbish on the channel. Right. You know that's not a good way to do it. If I'm honest with you, if anybody asks us ever to describe Win, I'd say Win's the biggest Newcastle fan I've ever known. You know, he absolutely loves the team. You know, he's got so much passion about it. Mm-hmm. Do I agree with him? No. There's some of the things he's saying annoy us and do a clash. Yeah, 100%. But he's still a top Newcastle fan. You know, and that's the positive way to do it. The way Wissa's went out and done it is just to slag him off at first and then try to sort of come back a little bit on it.
I just think you're looking for things that aren't there. There's Phil saying, "What?"
That's a good comment from Phil.
It is a good comment.
I haven't seen the full interview, by the way. Watch the full interview before commenting on Wissa. He was very positive and honest. Willock is his best friend at Newcastle. Context is everything.
I agree, but we're in a day and age now where people scroll on phones and after 3 seconds go to the next thing. We are going to grab. If you give them things to grab, like lazy and arrogant, they will, regardless. And not every. I will go and watch it. And I openly said before I started talking about this, I hold my hands up. I haven't seen it, and I will go and watch it. But for me, outside looking in, I'm a little bit like, geez, why are you even saying this? If things were going well, I'd get it. But the season we've had, just stay quiet. Let you talk and let everything. If Willock's your best mate, let that show on the pitch and we'll all be buzzing.
Can I just say as well, in regards to the whole interview, forget what he said or anything like that. The sunglasses were disgusting. They were absolutely terrible.
Need defending them.
Need defending them.
No, absolutely not. Excellent. Anything to add on Wissa's interview, or should we all watch it and come back tomorrow and talk about
it? That's okay.
I haven't seen it, so I'm not saying anything else about it.
Was I saying? Give Klopp a
very touched by Phil's comment, so I'm just leaving it. Go on, Win. Read that one out.
Give Klopp a blank check. That's what I would do. Give Klopp a blank check. PIF, we need big hugs.
Was the person he's going to Milan?
I personally can't stand Klopp, but he's a good manager, isn't he? I just don't like him personally. I don't know what it is. But obviously he'd be great at Newcastle.
Damn right.
Yeah.
And that's what we should do. If we're going to replace Eddie, replace him with a so-called elite stellar manager. Just go to, and they say they won't come here. Give them the money, they'll come. Just offer somebody £20 million a year and say, here you go.
Win, what do you think about getting rid of Eddie now and bringing Sam Allardyce in for the last 4 just to make sure we don't go down?
No, thank you. I've got to say, I'll hold my hands up and say, when we got Sam Allardyce the first time round, well, the only time round for us.
I was going to say, you were here once.
I was over the moon. I was absolutely delighted.
I was devastated. Long ball merchant, long ball plays percentages.
I want success. And what he done with Bolton Wanderers for me was exceptional. And that was at the time when we were first coming into football stats and all the stuff, the metrics that he was taking notice of before anybody else was, the medical team, the diets, the whole shebang. I thought, get in, this is going to be fantastic. It'll not be entertaining as football, but we'll be getting results. And we did neither.
Nope, it was boring.
That was the problem.
To be fair to Ash, to be fair to Allardyce, I agree with you. When I thought he would be a great manager when he first came in, I thought, he's going to get this. But then the takeover happened when just after he became manager, didn't it? And it absolutely knackered up any things that he had set up.
Another great super chat, by the way. Flying in.
Thank you for your $5 that, Tony. I thought Win was an angry, annoying man the first time I clicked on this channel. I was wrong. Don't shoot me for being wrong. He's actually very nice. Or very calm.
Oh.
Yeah, come on.
I don't add nice. You never said you were nice.
Don't oversell yourself, Win. You
never
said
said you
calm,
were
not
nice.
nice.
You said you were calm.
Thank you, Tony. You make me blush.
We've only got how we only got half an hour left? Oh my god, there's still something we've got to touch on. So, sustainability trial, park and ride at Newcastle. It'll be interesting to see if any of us will be using this. It's trying to avoid city centre congestion, save on parking, and it's going to be a free service for fans. All you need is your match ticket. So, I mean, if you've got a season ticket, it'll be on your phone. It's going to leave from the Taylor Wimpey car park off Great Parkway. I'm sure Wayne will be familiar with all these places. I literally drive here one to there and go. Every 15 minutes from 1 o'clock till 2:45, a drop-off point is right outside the stadium. After the match, buses will depart back to Great Park from the stops outside St Andrew's Church on Newgate Street every 5 minutes between 5 and 5:15. That'll obviously change depending on if there's been 10 minutes added on and all that stuff. But sustainability trials, anybody interested in this free park and ride? I mean, I'm not particularly bothered about.
Parkway.
It's what it says on the directly off the website.
Which is next to Bobby Robson Way in North Gosforth. I tell you who love it is Jamie, because that's exactly where he lives.
Jamie might be using it.
So it's where the CH headquarters are.
It obviously adds
it takes me an hour to get away from the match, from where I have to park.
I drive around the outside of everywhere just to get away.
Well, I would as well if I could get out of the bloody car park. That's where I'm sitting.
I just
never get out. I'm not going to leave 10 minutes before the end.
I cannot understand why they don't just put more metros on.
Well, there's a park and ride from the metro.
You can get a pint after the match, and then you don't have to worry about this. It quietens down a little bit, and you can get yourself away home.
That's what I tend to do. Yeah, I tend to spend an hour in the Strawberry after the game. But then I'm back very late because it's it's a whole day out just to go to the match. Which what can you do? But I won't be using it. Not if it's based in Gosforth. It's the wrong side of town for me.
Well, no, because what you could do is shoot up
straight on the A1
tunnel,
or straight on the A1.
The A1 either way. Because
the A1 I want to make sure.
Well, why are they doing this? What's the point? I mean, there's not major issues with people getting out of town, is it?
It's to avoid city centre congestion and save on parking. Apparently,
so they're going to let one knock down Lee's terrace. This is great news. It's when we get the bigger stadium.
This is
sorted.
This is a warm up. This is a warm up for the stadium announcement. It's just become a lot bigger than what we thought. This is it. It's happening. Official. Joking, by the way. This doesn't mean really anything towards the stadium. Just in case somebody literally just turned it on and thought, "Oh my God, there's a new stadium." No, it's just park and ride. It's not that exciting, folks. But yeah, sustainability, less congestion. I mean, to be honest, ever since I remember going to a game, it's always been congested. It's always took ages to get there, and it's always been a nightmare journey because that's the thing, isn't it? We all celebrate about having a city centre stadium, but then we've got to accept the cons which come with having a city centre stadium. But yeah, really, really interesting to see the kind of a club are also trying to come out with positives about sustainability, which again, I don't know, I'm going to come to both you actually. Is this kind of, it's not a smoke screen, is it? Because I don't think that many people care about it. It'll be interesting to see, but is it just trying to get more positive news out in a disappointing season?
I don't even know if this is positive news. I don't know what it is, to be honest.
Some people get free park and ride. It's positive.
To be honest, all you're going to do is put more buses going along towards Gosforth. So why not just walk down to the Haymarket where they've got buses anyway? I go that way. If you want to park there, just get the bus from the Haymarket.
Bolty's got to get part of a club. Bolty's got to get a job of a club somewhere. Got to be.
It's box ticket.
Can you see any point in that win? Can you see any point at all in that win?
None at
Because
all.
if they're challenged on their green,
if
if they're challenged on their green credentials, they can say that they've organised a park and ride system. That's it.
Good point.
I think.
I'm just quickly on Google Earth doing a
bit quiet, Win.
I'm quickly on Google Earth doing a thing. But if there's buses leaving every 5 minutes from St Andrew's Church to get to the park and ride car park, they are going to be clogging up the already busy roads for all of the normal. They are going to have to travel the exact same route as all of the buses from the Haymarket up the A1 and the Great North Road and through Gosford.
It is literally a trial for the Brighton game, so it's happening 2nd of May. So it's going to be mega interesting because I'll obviously be going, and if there's more traffic, I'm going to be devastated because it already takes ages. I don't live that far away. I live about 7 miles away. So the fact that it could be taking even longer is going to annoy the life out of me.
It's probably going to block the traffic going south with the buses having to spin round to get there.
After the game.
Mm-hmm. It's a strange one. Should we do that super chat?
Win has to leave earlier, Borky. Win's got to leave a match earlier now.
Win will have to leave at half time if this keeps happening.
Tony T is saying, I don't know if you're nice. This could be a mask.
Ooh.
And was I saying, whoop, just lit the wrong end of a tab. No.
Super chats. I tell you what, we've had some pretty good and random super chats, and also the band names. I can't share many of them.
I've started a couple of those.
Lots of support. Lots of support. Right, last thing then.
The Celebrity Squares was one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
ADBC. Sorry, well, it's ACBC. I think ADBC might have been better. With me
I was going to say
BC.
ADHD.
The mental gymnastics. And this is not a super chat, but it's Pokemon. We had a championship team in the Premiership. We needed to spend £700 million just to get a half-decent team to compete. We still had half the championship players just 2 seasons ago.
John Brown. Fair play. Any response, Pokey?
Well said, mate. Well said. I
agree
with you.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Exactly, Win, says Gary Simister. To act like a big club, we need to come to the negotiating table and be able to offer wages of 375 or more. That's if we were a big club. I'm told that's for the manager, by the way, not for the.
To be fair, what I want to talk about for the last 20-ish minutes is the show which were on before us. It was an amazing show. I did sit in towards the end of it, but we didn't get to discuss the Brighton game in any great depth. So I think it's worth, and I know we don't want to, but I think it's worth doing it because again, it's going to be here before we know it. It's a bank holiday weekend. What is the expectation for this game? It's such a strange one because there's nothing to really play for. I think Win tried to sell it as a 6-pointer, but it's not a 6-pointer.
It's definitely
nowhere near. And do we have any expectation of this game? Or, I mean, do we go in with we want to see a change of mentality, a change of heart, and we expect 3 points to kind of give us at least something towards the end of the season? Do we just not care? I mean, there's a couple of predictions coming in already, and I'm just thinking, God, I would hate to rock up at the game and it just be like a 0-0, 1-1 draw. That would be devastating. So, Ian, thoughts on the Brighton game?
Well, I think we've got to step up as we did from the Bournemouth game to the Arsenal game, at least the same level. I want us to show a bit of courage. I want us to play some forward balls fast instead of farting around, worrying to hell like we might lose possession. Doesn't matter. Win it back and have another go getting forward. You know how we used to play. I think we do. I think there's a hell of a lot riding on it for us. It's one of the last 2 home games. We desperately need a win to keep Tottenham at arm's length. And the thing is, if we don't get it against Brighton, we're up against Forest and West Ham in the next 2 games, who will both need the points to leapfrog us. So can you imagine losing those 2 and going to?
You've just made us very nervous about this game now.
I am very nervous about this game. Tottenham just won their first game in 12 with their new manager Bounce coming. They should have won the one before that, although they conceded very late for Bournemouth to get a draw. And we've got 4 points to make sure we're ahead of them. So we can win a game and still be a point needed out of the last 3 to stay ahead of Tottenham. I am, like I said, it's 80-1 that we get relegated.
You can't be putting a bet on us to get relegated.
I've put a fiver on at 80-1. I'm not stupid. If I get relegated, at least I'll have 400 quid in my back pocket.
No, my goodness gracious me. Get the super chats in to get it, Ian, for putting
an insurance policy.
On us to go down.
Insurance policy. But it's
exactly
win-win.
Win.
That's all I'm saying. You want us to lose to Brighton and find out you can only get 10-1, then there's no compensation whatsoever. Got to get in early. I happen to think we're going to get something from Brighton. It's a sort of big game where they will not coast in thinking they can just turn up and take points.
So when you say get someone, do you think win, draw, what?
Well, if they can draw, they can win. That's the stupid thing about this Newcastle team, isn't it?
All right, Michael.
You think you're going to go? You think you're going to get knocked out because you've been drawn away at Aston Villa in the FA Cup and they go and win 3-0? You think you're going to get absolutely stuffed because Bruno's injured and you've got to play away at PSG and you pick up a draw? They're just so inconsistent. I mean, not recently. They've been consistently bloody awful recently. But, you know, there were signs that they were a bit better against Arsenal. Nowhere near as good as I wanted them to be. They should have won that game. They would have won that game earlier in the season. But, yeah, it depends who he picks. Let's have Voltemada on from the start.
I'm going to come to who we want to play in a second.
Definitely a 6-pointer. If we win, we're only 5 points behind them. If we don't win, we're 11 points behind them. And what that means is, if we win, we can still overtake them. If we don't win, we can never overtake them.
Yeah, that means every game's a 6-pointer. Because you'll always be
every game is a 6-pointer in that regard. But I'm talking about particularly Brighton, because if they beat us, it's impossible for us to overtake them.
Bogey?
Let's Eddie Howe throw the shackles off. Let's not worry about this game. Let's get the players up for it. Let's Eddie come into that press conference tomorrow morning and be as up as he's ever been. You know, what am I going to do in this game? I'm going to play the players that can win this game for us. You know, I'm going to be attacking. I'm going to absolutely go for it. You know, I'm going to... Don't worry about it, Geordies. You know, you guys get in the ground. You get behind, and we're going to attack these. We're going to absolutely go for it. Get into the game itself. Have the players up for it. Play a 4-4-2. Stick Voltemada behind Asula or Wissa up front. You know, go for the game. Play 2 wingers. But tell them to actually stay on the wing. Get crosses into the box.
90s football. I like it.
90s football. Let's just go for it. You know, will we get overrun and over midfield potentially? Yeah, potentially. But we'll score. We'll score 5 and they'll score 4. So
the talk of Keegan at the start.
Let's absolutely go for it. So you know, let's not be down. You know that we've got good players in this squad. Let Eddie get them behind them. Let the fans get behind them, and let's absolutely go for it. You know, and if you go out there and you lose and you've done that, I'll sit here next week and go, Eddie, respect to you, mate. You know, you've done the right thing. If we go out there and play pendulum football... I
believe that when I see it.
No, if we go... I've always backed Eddie up if he's done the right thing at times. If we go out and play pendulum football, 4-3-3, you know, no actual striker up front, then I'll be here as the most negative I've ever been.
I think we'll definitely play a striker. I think we'll also definitely probably play a 4-3-3. Win? Yeah, I think you said you fancied us getting something when Ian said he does.
I think we're going to win it.
Win it? Yeah.
I think we've got better. But I say this every game, of course. I think we've got better players than Brighton.
No, we've got a better squad than Man U, and they're bloody 3rd. Can you believe that? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It sooner or later it'll come good. And I saw green shoots at Arsenal. You know, it wasn't a good performance by any stretch of the imagination. And the fact that it was better than some of the dross we've been watching is largely for me just simply down to the fact that Bruno was back. We'll have him back.
That's the key.
Hopefully
Bruno is back
for a full 90 minutes this time. And like I say, he's seen the little glimmer of what Waldemar and Wissa, both on the pitch at the same time, can potentially do. Let's seem to. I want to see. We're talking yesterday. I want to see Asula on the right wing, Gordon on the left wing. 4-2-3-1 with Bruno and Tonali in the middle. Bruno on the left, Asula on the right, Waldemar in the middle behind Wissa. Let's do it.
And Ramsdale back in goal.
I was going to ask that.
Absolutely, I could never understood that.
We'll go to super chat, and I'm going to come ask you about the goalkeeper situation.
Win, thank you. I did notice the board you did, by the way. Don't worry what that was.
There it is. There it is. Look at that. World class. Ooh.
Prosaic, another membership granted today off Prosaic. And Prosaic is a legend. So is Wassa.
I like it. I like it. Amazing super chats again. Thank you again for everyone who's done it. But goalkeeper, I'm seeing some comments talk about Ramsdale. Are we all in agreement it's Ramsdale in goal, or is Pope just quite frankly a better shot stopper, and that's what a goalkeeper should be?
Chuck Gillespie in for me.
Gillespie. Give him a chance. John Ruddy's leaving, I think. So give him a debut before he ships off on a free.
I don't know. I wasn't sure why Ramsdale got dropped. He didn't do anything on the games that were lost. He didn't save goals that he had no right to save. We're no howlers. But he got replaced by Pope. So in Howe's head, Pope's number one. Ramsdale's the backup. Takes Pope out when he's going to pieces for 3 or 4 games, then he's, of course,
it happened on
which he was
again.
But then he brings him back because he's doing well in training, and yeah, he got away with it this time. But he had another aberration, honestly, running out and just missing the ball completely. and I didn't think it was a red card, but if it had been given, it wouldn't have been overturned, and we would have been playing that match with 10 men.
I did think it was a red card. I would have been furious if that had happened to us and the opposition hadn't had.
To be fair, it's strange with Pope, because even when he comes out against Arsenal, he's going with his wrong foot, and I'm like, oh my god, just go with your any sort of contact will do. Go with your left foot. It's more natural. But we all know that's not his game, and you know what you get with Pope. He's never going to be good with a ball at his feet. And probably up until this season was a very good shot stopper. This season there's been some questionable ones as well. And then you've got Ramsdale, who is a kind of opposite, really, isn't he? He's I never fully can't. He does make the odd good save when he doesn't have a lot of time to think about it, but the long ranges sometimes worry us, mainly from his time at Arsenal. I just think if he's got a lot of time, he's more likely to kind of
can't concentrate for 90 minutes.
Can't concentrate for 90 minutes. They were his words. Yeah. But also, you see, and again, I don't know if this is a good thing, right? I used to think it was. But players are more willing to go back to Ramsdale when he's in goal, because he's much better with his feet. But I don't know if I want the players to be more willing to go backwards. Almost in a strange, weird way. I was going to use a terrible analogy, but I'm not going to say that online because that'll come back to haunt us. But in a weird way, I quite strangely enjoy that players are forced to play forward because they won't pass back to Nick Pope. I weirdly quite like that. It's like we have to play forward because we're not passing to him.
Except sometimes they do pass to him.
Sometimes, but not a lot.
Chow, when he first came in, didn't he? Then he soon got the message not to pass back to Pope.
Chow started putting in dummies, faking to pass back, and then coming back. I was like, yeah, he's understood the assignment pretty quickly here. The other player I want to talk about was a couple, actually. Asula, I mean, I know when he started as a striker, he got 2 and 2 and then didn't score on his last one as a striker, but some people are saying about right wing, and I get it because of his goal against Man U, and I get it because he has played there.
Because there's no other right wingers. There's no other right wingers that deserve to be on the pitch, Kev.
If Alanga's staying, is it not better off trying to get a tune out of him and just play?
We've tried.
We've all got to agree that Asula's not good enough. Is he?
But he might just do something to get a goal on the right wing. He might do another Bromley goal or another Man United goal and score a worldie. And he's on the right wing when he's doing them. Alanga isn't doing that. Murphy isn't doing that. They're completely... I won't say they're terrible players. I'll just say they're really badly out of form and lacking in confidence.
But the best way to get that is by playing someone like Alanga. He has a good last 4 games. And when he look, I'm not saying I've got total faith in Alanga. I don't. But just in terms of long-term future, if out of them two, if anyone is going to come good, in my opinion, it's Alanga, because he's just a better player than Asula.
Well, by your
yardstick... He's not. He's fast. He's fast. He hasn't really got any tricks, and he's just fast.
With Asula, I think he's a better, and I've said this a couple of times on the channel now. I think he's actually better than we're giving him credit for. You know,
he can go past players.
Yeah, we watched him. I mean, look at the Man United goal. You know, I said me, Chris, and Gary was sitting here. No, sorry, me, Chris, and Michael were sitting here, absolutely wetting ourselves laughing when he picked up the ball and started sprinting down the wing. And we're going, oh, say Bambi on ice and like stuff like that. He could in then. All three were started thinking, hang on, he could score here. He's got some, you know, the goal where he flicked it under his leg and scored from there. None of our other players would have done that. You know, he spun off a player in the last game and scored a goal. Sorry, not the last game, the last home game, and scored a goal. Brilliant again. I think he's not orthodox, and he's never going to be an orthodox striker for you. But I think he's got something about him. There's something there.
I do as well.
I don't see it with Asula at all, really. I loved the goal against Man U. Of course I did. It was amazing. But I don't know. Just
to bring it back to what you said before, though, Kev, you said give Alanga a chance, da-di-da. I have got far more faith in Wissa coming good than I have in Alanga. Our 250 I've got far more faith in Wissa coming good than Alanga coming.
I haven't got a lot of faith in both at the minute, if I'm completely honest. But I don't know which one I've got more in. But I just think you've paid 55 million for it. I know you don't play based on how much you've paid for them. But like, if you look at I know it was in a different team, in a different setup. But like Alanga at Forest, there was a player there. I know it was different style, different setup, different tactic, and we necessarily won't be playing like that. But I don't know. I just think when I see Asula, I don't know if it's just like a Newcastle. We sometimes, in my opinion, I can only speak for myself, obviously, we get players who we weirdly get attached to. And from my perspective, I think some fans think Asula is better than potential. I don't see it. I loved his goal against. I don't want to be critical. I loved his goal against Man. I just don't think it bounces off him. His first touch isn't great. I don't know. I don't know. In a way,
that's because he's
like that over the years.
That's
his style. But that's exactly the point. He's not an orthodox player. You're not going to see him do orthodox things. Yeah. There will be times when he does that and he falls over, but he's going to do things that are.
Nobody else would score by doing a step over when he sat on his arse.
That's it.
Yeah, but when we've got to remember against Arsenal, he also had an opportunity to shoot and he completely missed the ball.
That happened. He didn't. He hit his standing foot and he took it
away. Either way, the ball didn't go towards the goal, regardless of what happened. The ball didn't go.
But who looks like the £55 million striker this season? Asula or Wissa? No, but I'm saying which one is closer to that level?
I don't think any of them are particularly close. To answer the question, Asula's had a better season than Wissa, but
per minute.
I can't. I don't know.
What are Asula's goals per minute? Because they must be pretty bloody damn good.
I'm sure somebody can find out in the last 3 minutes. I don't know. For me, I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh. And I hope, honestly, Wissa plays and he scores. Genuinely.
Oh, well, he has to do our best, don't we? No, none of us sitting here saying,
I don't
want any of these players to fail.
I want Asula to score 7 in the last 4, and I will come on here and I'll completely eat my words, and my God, I'd love that. But yeah, the other player I've got to talk about, because again, it's caused a lot of controversy, I guess, but I guess there was a justification about his height, and that's why he played left back. But Lewis Hall or Dan Burn, I mean, is it really a question?
Not even a question.
No.
Yeah,
Hall.
but look, let's be honest. The reason it's a question is because Burn played the last game at left back and Hall got dropped. So does Hall come back in for Brighton, do we think? Or do we think Burn stays? Did Burn do anything wrong?
I've been completely honest about this, Kev. I heard the rumour and put it out before the match that Hall was going to be dropped, and also said that he wouldn't come on in that game. And unless there's peace talks between Hall and Howe, it'll be Burn again this weekend.
Peace talk.
There was quite a big bust. I'll tell you the story. It was, I can't tell you tell this, but it was at half time, and that's why Hall got pulled off. And the person that backed him up was Graham Jones. Graham Jones backed him up from the coaches, and there was sort of a conflict in there, and Hall got hooked, and that's why he didn't. I mean, you know, people can say, "Oh, you make up these stories, you don't get this sort of thing." I also put the team out before that game started because it was such a rumor. So you know, I'd said from this, not like an hour before kickoff. I'm talking like the morning of the game, that Hall wouldn't be featuring in the game at all.
That'll be interesting if that's true, because Hall is very much liked by Newcastle fans, but I mean, nobody ever should. It's okay to question the manager in the right way, in my opinion. It's absolutely fine to have a different opinion and do it, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how far that went. Because Eddie Howe's been nothing but praise for Lewis Hall this season. He's absolutely back. He's come out with unbelievable things about Lewis Hall this season as his manager. So that'll be really interesting if that is true, to kind of see what exactly has happened there. So we're all in agreement in terms of if that's true, it'll be Burn, but also we probably think Hall should start based on our best first 11. Is that right?
If that is still true, and Howe can't see past that to be able to pick England's best left back instead of someone who's even a friggin' left back. Well, if what's happened is that
you can't have players.
If he said do it this way in the second half, and Hall's gone, actually, I think I've got a better way. Can I just put this forward? And Graham Jones has said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, Eddie. Maybe we should, and he's taken umbrage at that sort of thing. Then you've got to be able to see past that. Pick England's best left back, not somebody who's improvising at that position because he's centre half. Because we've got to get points in this game. We've got to get points as soon as possible. You pick your best team. You put your personal differences to one side and you pick your best team.
Yeah, but to be fair, the manager gets the final decision. I don't care which player you are. I don't care if you're Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi. I genuinely don't care how good you are, how important you are to the team. If a manager makes a decision and you can question it and you can say, I think it's better to do it this way, that's absolutely fair. But then if a manager turns around and says, okay, I hear you, but I disagree, and I want you to do this, then you do what the manager's asking. That is the manager's job, is to manage that team. So if Lewis Hall has stepped out of line, if he has turned around and said, I completely disagree, I'm not doing it, I completely refuse, then the only right thing to do is to not play him until he realises that the manager gets the last say, the manager gets the final decision.
Well, you discipline him by hooking him at half time and not picking him for the Arsenal game. Yeah. You don't keep him out of the team for games we've got to win. It's not like he's got another fullback to come in and cover for him. It's bloody.
And I think a lot of the discussion is that it's actually Eddie that has to come out and make the peace, not Hall.
If that's the case, I mean, again, if that's the case, then yeah, Eddie's got to come out and apologise and say, "Look, I was too far." I
don't think it'll happen. He won't come out publicly and apologise.
No, of course he won't. But
he'll stop playing. When there's a super chat there, mate.
Yeah, before we head off.
Boogie just loves a Donna rummer.
Just take the rummer out and you're quite well.
Loves a rummer.
I love a Donna and I love a rum, so and I love me ma. So
oh my goodness. Again, I don't know where the time's gone. I can't believe it's literally just turned 11 o'clock. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you everybody in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, support the channel. It's massively important. Thank you for all the super chats. We got the presser show tomorrow, lads. Is that right?
Yeah.
Not me.
Nope.
Me and Gary are on.
There we go.
Gary are on. It should be from 9. Gary's got to get back from dropping the kids. It'll probably end up being 10 past, but we'll be there in plenty of time to listen to Eddie Howe's press conference.
Make sure you tune in for that. And we're hoping for a bogey. We're hoping for a bogey quote of if they score 4, we'll score 5. That's what I'm hoping to hear.
And thank you all for your super chat. Prosaic for your membership. Was numerous times as always. Peter McCardle, Ads K, Monkey Sputum.
Careful when you see that one.
Ads K. Becca, thank you for yours.
Truls did 50
Norwegian krona. Thank you for that. Tony T and the Flying Crumpets in there more than once. Thank you all very, very much indeed.
And for the band names, it was an absolute
pleasure. The band names were excellent.
Have we got a band name then?
Yes, but
what's the one we picked?
I think I've got to go with the Four Skins.
And that's where we leave it. Thank you very much. Absolute pleasure as always. Make sure you tune in for the presser show tomorrow morning. That's it from us tonight. Adios.
Away the lads.
Lasses and Bens.
There we